Oh, it's raining. Oh, hello, cutscene. Who's at the door?
Hi, I'm Clark. Probably not who you expected to be knocking, but life's funny sometimes.
Hi, Clark.
You've done well staying anonymous. It took us a while to track you down.
Wow, I must have been that good to stay in the shadows of the normal mundane life.
A lot has happened in the last year. Far too much of it public. But there's stuff going on behind the scenes, too.
Do tell.
I never wanted to be president. I'm not great with stress. With my mother's
Deteriorating condition? Like, are you saying she has dementia or something? Because believe me, I know what it's like to have a loved one deal with that sort of thing. If it affects everyone around them, you know? Pretty harrowing.
I'm sorry, I'm rambling. I'm not here for sympathy. I'm here because part of the fallout of Sam's book is that everyone's coming out of the woodwork. Now that it's public knowledge the Clancy Trust covers any Roottrees despite their history with us, a lot of potential cousins have surfaced.
Potential cousins, you say, because of the whole famous Roottrees incident. And Clancy Trust, aka money, you're saying that these potential cousins are actually, people that are just, money grubbers. They're just in it for the money.
You may have seen that man on the cover of News Time. It was a disaster for us.
News Time. I feel like this might be important. I mean, I can probably look it up later, like on the computer.
And then Miracle went and made it all about himself.
Because he's a preacher, and that's what preachers mostly do. Well, I haven't personally met a preacher in person, so I apologize if it sounds like I am dissing.
The long and short of it is, a lot of potential cousins just showed up. Sam's helping some of them. But she's not really going about it the right way. And she's not taking calls from anyone in the family. I let it slip through a mutual friend that I found you, and I was stopping in. It's manipulative, but I'm hoping she'll reach out to you. You can let her know I'm on her side. In the meantime, if you're willing, I can share our files with you. Pass them along to Sam if she reaches out. I'm genuinely hoping she'll realize I'm an ally. Feel free to do your own research. I've been told you enjoy things like this. To each their own.
All right, we got some new evidence. Let's go ahead and look up here. So we got an unexpected visitor. Today, August 3, 1999. Oh, how long? Sorry, how long has it been? Let me just repeat. Today, August 3rd, 1999, there was a knock at your door. Clark Rafferty LaRue, the current president of the... Oh, he's the current president! Oh, he did mention he didn't want to be president, but I thought that was like probably back when, with the whole debacle when Clark... No, not Clark. You know, like, the Roottrees sisters' dad when he was still around. Anyways... President of the Roottrees Candy Company explained that multiple people have come out of the woodwork to claim to be Roottrees. He has been trying to work with Sam, but she has not answered his calls. He's also handed you a letter that he said you could share with Sam that said the following. To both of you, the company I hired to help us with the Clancy Trust is busy pouring through the entire family's history, as well as people that may have had contact with. That said, the family is not particularly happy with this and are doing their best to slow things down. Many of them are actively avoiding our interviews. Okay. Every time there's a high-profile public case, it causes headaches. So please, I don't mind if you do your research, but I ask that you stop going to the press. Oh. Instead, we have a highly trained team of lawyers to back you up. We're ready and willing to verify anyone and everyone you believe could be a realistically part of a relationship that led us to the birth of a new Roottrees. Just tell us who to investigate by filling in the new sections of the tree, and we'll take the time to handle verifying that timeline checks out. Okay. But keep in mind why we're here. If someone didn't have a child or has already been disqualified by our lawyers, like in the case of the girl with the negative DNA test, there won't be place for them on the tree. We're not just looking for affairs and infidelities, we're only looking for the ones that led to potential new root trees. Some spots in the new section will be marked with a tree icon. Those areas are reserved for members of the original family tree you filled in 8 months ago. Oh, so it's been 8 months! Oh, because it was like December 1998. Wow, so it's been almost a whole year. So that was a bit kind of a big time jump. All right. Just like last time, be sure to use birth names for everyone you add. Married names or nicknames won't be enough. To start sorting out the infidelities, I recommend you turn your eyes to the men in positions of power. Power, you say? That might be a good hint. Let me just do men in positions of power. Ooh, and we got a new book. All right. So I'd love to say that's only because it would have been a lot harder for the women to hide 9 months of pregnancy and birth without the family noticing, but I can't. I'll be blunt, I'm no stranger to infidelity. Wait, yes, I forgot. Clark's family tree. His is a bit messy. I mean, he got married like 3 times, but also at the same time, he had a kid with his second wife and also cheated on her with the younger sister of the LaRue family. So he ended up marrying the younger sister. And then, of course, he has kids with the younger sister. So not only are all his children half siblings, but they're also like cousins. Anyways, I wish I could claim that I was a perfect husband, but you've seen the family tree, so I pretend. Some of us learned how to wield our family name and fortune to our benefit. Consequences be darned. I can't change the past or unhurt those who I betrayed. Instead, all I can do is be honest with myself and to you. To me. Refuse to make any more mistakes and do my best to sort out the various messes we've left behind. So please fill in the tree, and together we can figure out how to begin to make amends. Good luck, and thank you both, Clark. Okay, now let's look at the evidence. So previously on the Roottrees are gone. So this is a new investigation with a new focus after many months of newfound interest in the Roottrees. It is recommended you try to catch up with some of what happened since last time. Some web searches may yield new or different results, and some books and magazines from your previous investigation may be relevant to your new one. It's also much more widespread search. The list of first and last names you can choose from will contain red herrings. Not all of them will be used. Below is a reminder of some of the most notable beats of your initial dive into the Roottrees family tree. All evidence from before is still available, and for your convenience, any searches that do not lead to new information still function as they did during your first investigation. Wait, so I can look back at all the evidence from the first game? Okay. Does this also count? So, the Roottrees Candy Company was founded by Elias and Gwyneth many years ago. The entire family has a financial reliance on the health of that company. Most of the action took place in or around Butler County, Pennsylvania, where the company was initially located. Elias, Carl, I think that was Carl. Yeah, Carl, the fifth president, I think. And Raina were on the cover of the magazines. Other notable Roottrees such as Lauren Roottrees, Miracle Roottrees, and Jim Roottrees had physical media such as record albums, books, and movies associated with them. What about Gwen? Does she not count? Because, hello, she's an actress. She's been in movies. So Lauren's 2 diaries were probably the most useful resources overall, mentioning many of her relatives directly. The 5 pieces, Elias' children, could be identified based on the initials of the original candy flavors. Well, technically there were 6 pieces. Because apparently Elias disowned one of his children because he came out of the closet, you know? And of course, back then it was like a sin! Like, like, kissy, like, what? Hissy cat noises! I was about to do hissy kissy. Oh my goodness. So there were 5 presidents of the Roottrees Company. Many were featured in periodicals. Stephanie Jones and Brian Jones were featured in campaign posters and led to Caroline's modern art book, which enabled you to fill out more of the tree. And yeah, she then later came out as gay as well. But then, of course, roughly around her time, like everyone was like chill with it. But I kind of feel bad for, what was Edward Clancy, right? So many of the younger Roottrees were found by following a complex rabbit hole through a conspiracy site that led to finding a searchable web address for Chris Rafferty, who is Lauren's grandson. November Rootree was really difficult to place. Her occupation could only be found via Brian Jones's company website, and nothing much else on her. Yeah, I know, she was really hard to find. So, Ronald and his brother Robert Rootree go by Ron and Robbie. Both worked on a TV show called Brother Trouble until Robbie embezzled money and fled to Paris. Ron unsuccessfully tried to have Robbie removed from the Clancy Trust. Oh yeah, because I think Sam mentioned that Robbie was a biological blood relative. Sam and her father were cryptically mentioned in a book about historical letters. Meh. I could spider search historical letters, maybe? But anyways, there were also a few no ends and red herrings. Yeah, here we go. Aloysius Herring Rootree, who claimed he was a Rootree but was not. No, it was just a nickname. Family Man, a book about Elias Rootree, turned out to be propaganda and not useful. What? Family Man? I don't think I've looked up anything about a Family Man. Lauren's other books, historical romance novels, were not very useful on their own, though could lead to other information, and Caroline Morden's sculptures were not useful. Okay. Well, that's all. Now let's start here with the notable events. 5 P's. So we got 6 pieces. The Rootree Rift, Clark Ooh, we got more on Clark. Roottreemania and Anonymon? There's like 11 clues to this? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So it has been 8 months since you helped Sam Madsen with the research necessary for her book. Sam was true to her word and paid you an incredibly large sum of money. She never mentioned you by name, however, you managed to keep a low profile. The Rootrees, on the other hand, have not. Below is a summary of notable events since the book's release, though you can refresh your memory in full detail by searching online. Thank you. So 6 pieces. Sam Madsen's book about Elias Rootree was released in February. It was a bestseller for a few months. At the time, Carl had not yet been replaced. Oh, that's when they were still deciding on presidency. So the Rootree Rift. In March, the Rootree company stumbled publicly as they attempted to respond to the book's release with multiple conflicting press releases and a clear lack of leadership. And then Clark was announced as the permanent successor to Carl Rootree and welcomed Sam Madsen to the family officially. The company hired an outside legal group to handle the changes of the Clancy Trust. This included any other questions of lineage. 5 Ps. After this announcement, there was a rash of different people claiming to be Rootrees, mostly dismissed as opportunists and scammers. The highest profile of these by a wide margin was a rapper named Felix Fellows. Ooh, let me highlight this, and I'm probably going to have to spider search this one. So who changed his moniker to 5 Ps as a publicity move at the same time. 5 Ps is the only notable person on the updated tree. Oh. So Roottreemania, in another high-profile misstep, Miracle Rootree publicly and vehemently denied that 5 Ps was a Rootree. The Rootree's legal team then offered to do a DNA test to get 5 Ps to drop his claim, and in a moment that caught what seemed like the entire world by storm, the test proved he was a Rootree. Suddenly the world was obsessed with the Rootrees. Anonymous and Jane Doe Rootree. In July, an anonymous woman, who the press began to refer to as an anon, appeared in interviews with her face and voice disguised. She claimed that an affair with a Rootree led to the birth of her daughter, aka Jane Doe Rootree. If true, this would make her daughter yet another secret Rootree and therefore entitled to a share of the Clancy Trust. Nobody knew it at the time, but this would turn out to be the last chapter in the Roottreemania saga. As more and more Anonymous story came out, people began to notice how much it echoed 5 Ps in nearly every significant way. The court of public opinion began to turn, confirming the world's suspicions. The DNA test, orchestrated by lawyers on both sides, proved that her daughter was not a Rootree. This final event caused public disappointment, smugness from doubters, and countless accusations of the entire ordeal being an elaborate hoax or attempt at fraud. Things got a bit ugly. And the fun of the Roottreemania seemed to disappear overnight. Now, a month later, it feels like a distant memory. Oh, okay. Let's start with the 5 Ps. Let's look up Felix. Can I just do this? Spider search this. Oh, oh, I forgot. I need to connect to the internet. And ironically, I got an achievement for it. All right, hold on. Internet. Let's connect again. Let's go. I thought I would be still connected to the internet since the last game. All right, here we go. Now let's spider search. You know what? Let's just type it up here because I got it. So we got. What about like news time? Because I did. Hey, yeah, because it was mentioned at the very start. And then we'll do the wrapper. So News Time is a major news periodical that releases a new issue every week. The rapper 5Ps famously appeared on the cover claiming to be a Rootree. Then 1 week later, Miracle Rootree did the same, denying that he was because of this high-profile back-to-back discourse right before the start of Roottreemania. They appeared to be the de facto publication to get news about the ongoing Rootree saga. They reported record subscriber numbers during this time, which lasted until the end of Roottreemania, when the world generally stopped paying much attention and they went back to reporting on more traditional news. Oh my goodness, my throat is going to be so dry for this. So News Time appears to be available via your... Ooh, wait, can I look it up? Yeah. Oh, I still get these. I don't know why I'm so happy. Wait, should I do like Felix Fellows? Oh, let me just write this down. So 5 Ps wrapper. That's all I know so far. So Felix Fellows, aka 5Ps, famously appeared on the cover of News Time, kicking off Roottreemania. Then a week later, Miracle Rootree appeared on the cover of the magazine in an article that focused heavily on 5Ps as well. A summary of both miracles as well... Miracles? I can't even read, oh my goodness. Articles as well as close-up of the photo 5Ps is holding on the cover of his issues have been added to your evidence. Let me do Miracle! Because he did it a week later. So Miracle... Roottrees. So Miracle Rootree appeared on the cover of News Times, denying that Felix Fellows was a Rootree. The article from the issue with Miracle on the cover was added to my... Oh, that as well. Yeah, let's go to evidence. The company Picket. Why do we have this? Who are you again? What's with this? Like, why am I looking at each other? So the rapper 5Ps appeared on the cover of News Time holding this Polaroid of his mother, Joanna, when she was Zach Morden's secretary at the company picnic. He claims that Joanna and Guy... Oh, Guy Hudson! Wait a minute, hold on. I need to look at the bill. Oh my goodness, look at this board! Oh my goodness, look. Wait, possible infidelity in 1921, 1949, 75 to 80. Oh my goodness, Guy! Oh my goodness! This has to be Guy's because the timeline fits, and he did orphan a car accident in 82, I believe. My Guy! Dude cannot keep it in his pants. And wait. He was where is he on the original? Right here. Oh my goodness. And he got a wife too, but was this before or during his marriage? Wait, I have to take a picture. Sweet. I don't know, should I use this one? It's kind of like a side-on. Maybe I'll find a better looking photo. Oh, here's the 5Ps issue. Oh my goodness, a lot of reading. Oh, I just realized it. Now I understand the photo right here. Can I take a... Ooh, okay, I can. Anyways, back to reading. Five Piece, aka Fellows, appeared on the cover of Newstime holding a photo of his mother and Guy Hudson. The article concerns his insistence that his father was Guy Hudson. The story was dramatic and sensational and initially dismissed as fake until a DNA test proved he was related to Guy Hudson. Okay. So 5P says that his mother Joanna was Zach Morden's secretary when he retired, and then Guy Hudson's secretary for only 1 or 2 weeks after that before she quit. The first few weeks that he was president. His parents divorced when he was 4 after his father learned of the affair. Felix and his mother then moved to Portland because she was afraid of her and her son's life. He grew up with her until he was 16, but one day his mother never came home from the movie rental store where she worked the register. The next morning they found her oofed from an overdose in her car. She had stolen all of the cash from her drawer and she spent it on the bad stuff. As Felix went through her belongings, the only things he had to remember her by were a hairbrush she had always used, some photos, and a stuffed animal from her childhood. But then he found it, a box hidden in the back of her closet. Inside were love letters and photos related to Guy Hudson, as well as a letter from his father containing threats. He threw it all away, with the exception of the one photo he appears with on the cover of Newstime. He says it was the only one where they were dressed. Oh my goodness. Scandalous photos! The only one not from the affair itself. The picture is shown in full inside the magazine and was added to your evidence. The magazine also includes some additional history about 5P's career. Felix Fellows was born to Riley and Joanna Fellows. Okay. But has never rapped without a moniker. He tried to find success by opening for other artists and even by selling CDs on street corners in Portland. He has only recently started going as 5Ps to harness the power of his lineage. The writer did some research into the truth of these claims and was able to confirm that Joanna did work for the Roottrees company as a secretary sometime during the early to mid-70s. It also confirms she passed of an overdose and that Felix went into foster care soon after. They were unable to track down his father. They also reached out to the Roottrees company, but at the moment the company's blanket statement was, since the release of a recent book, Roottrees has seen an overwhelming number of false ancestral claims. None have been factual, and nearly all have been knowingly dishonest. We encourage individuals to reach out to us in an official capacity as opposed to attempting to use our name in the media for publicity. Is it just me or is the rain sound effects very loud? Wait, hold on. So, let me just... Where was it? Where was it again? I'm gonna write this down. Parents... Wait. Wait, no. Hold on. Let me just add it onto this. There we go. Alright, so... Parents are Riley and Joanna. Spell me Joanna Okay. Just so like I'll just type up Riley and see where we go from there. Okay. Now let's go to Miracle's issue. Oh, I see. Like, I can see him in the glasses right here. Charlatans and thieves. I mean, yeah. It is 1999, so of course he would be old. So let me just take a photo. There we go. So, reasons why I can take a photo of him. So, we know this is like old guy, assumption-wise. So, I think Miracle will have to be 1949. Because if he is old in 99 now, this has to be roughly him. Yeah, because he was the youngest, backtrack. He was the... Did they just swap his photos around? I'm pretty sure I did this one here and this one. Okay, sorry. I got so disoriented by the photo swap, but I lost my train of thought. So yeah, he was 14 years younger than all of the other 5 pieces. Well, technically 6 pieces as well. So maybe, yeah, maybe he is? What else can I do? Oh, I know what else I can do. I can read this! So Miracle Rootree appeared on the cover of News Time shortly after 5Ps did. He vehemently, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing or misenunciating, denied that 5Ps was a Rootree. This article was from before the DNA tests that proved it. Miracle doesn't focus much on the details of 5Ps' accusations regarding his mother and Guy Hudson. Instead, he comes across as exhausted at the events that have been going on behind the scenes, as well as the character of those he feels are attacking his family. He starts with 6 pieces contents. He says that although most of the book was based in fact, it left out anything that wouldn't fit the agenda. He points out Sam's daughter still earns a generous salary for overseeing the farm division of Roottree, and that Sam did the same before her. That Sam's family was not destitute, and that really it was only her son who chose to take on a job with no salary. He claims that though they didn't have to, the family helped pay for her son's medical bills after voting that it was the right thing to do. Miracle also says that the story about his father Elias shunning Eastie was one-sided, leaving out Edward Clancy's blame in the whole thing. Elias gave him a simple ultimatum: stop sinning or be disowned. Miracle says it was Eastie's own choice, and that Elias allowing him to earn food and shelter on the company's dime was a kindness, especially considering that he and John continued to live together. So even though he disowned the son, he still paid, financially supported him, in a way. So anyways, Miracle then pivots to the fallout from 6 pieces. He recounts a deluge of claims to the Clancy Trust that the family have been subjected to. He doesn't cite any specifics, but says that every time someone comes forward, the family devolves to arguments. They had to hire an outside legal team to help, but so far every case has been demonstrably laughable, false. All they do is tarnish his family's reputation. So he focuses on 5Ps who appeared on News Time before him. He calls him a grifter and a delinquent and says he is using their name and products to sell filth to the masses. Of all the accusations, he says this is the most dangerous because it exposes the world to hatred. He cites 5P's lyrics as violent, sexist, and ungodly, and prays the boy will repent, retract his lies, and find religion. That is such a preacher thing to say. Or a priesty thing, I don't know. Lastly, he turns to the future. Miracle states that those that wish to hear the quote-unquote true story can join him on his farewell tour this upcoming fall. The Miracle's Rootree are planning on touring the country's churches one last time, and that now at the age 71. Oh, he's 71! I thought he would look a little older than that. Anyways, Miracle is the oldest living Rootree, while he plans to continue preaching at his own church in Butler County after the tour. This is your last chance to hear the truth from the man with the most complete recollection of one of America's most notable families in your own hometown. The article mentions that Miracle's son, Miracle Jr., did not wish to comment, and has a statement from Clark Rafferty LaRue through the Rootrees law firm. Miracle does not speak for his entire family. We're working carefully on a plan to definitively disprove any claims of infidelity in our family's past. The article also does not refute Miracle's claims that he's the quote-unquote oldest living Rootree, despite Sam Madsen being born the year before him. Oh, so... Okay, so Sam's older than him by 1, so that would mean Sam's 72. She looks good for 72. Anyways, it was unclear if Miracle made the claim out of ignorance or spite. That is not Miracle. Why is this number 1 clue? Could it be, hold on, Miracle Root Tree? Oh, so this page hasn't been updated for at least 8 months and may now be irrelevant. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Can I look him up on Spider Search? What? There's an older version? Oh yeah, I've seen that. So, show the latest. That is so cool. It seems Miracle Sr. is going on a new tour in the United States in late 1999. The previous flyer for 3 generations of Miracles has been replaced. Be a part of history. The oldest living Roottrees reprises and retells his incredible true story. Okay. Miracle Roottrees grew up as one of the famous 5 pieces, living a life of wealth and luxury, but fortune was nothing compared to the powerful force of the Almighty. Doctors determined he was destined to pass young, but fate had different plans. He has lived a long and fruitful life, however he's now in his 70s and his age is beginning to make life on the road more difficult. So consider this your last chance to see him in town near you before he settles back down in Pennsylvania. In this intimate evening, Miracle will reminisce about his famous history. He'll discuss his family's saints and sinners and provide a unique perspective of one of the most notable families in the United States today. Learn what originally drove him away from his fortune and into the arms of religion, and learn how his life has become more wealthy in spirit than it ever could have been from his inheritance. The site also lists the churches he will be appearing in and mentions that tickets can be purchased at their local services. Noticeably absent are any mentions about Miracle's new appearances. What else? This is like a #1 clue, so there's got to be something in here that I'm missing. Hold on, let me go back to the notable events again. So, maybe 6 pieces? I can try and look up 6 pieces now? Okay, so 6 pieces. Unwrapping America's Sweetest Family by Sam Madsen was released in early 1999 and perhaps assisted by the still relatively recent plane crash shot to the top of the charts. Reviews were mixed and its time on the bestsellers list was limited to only 2 months. Most reviewers agreed that the core of the book about Samantha's fathers and the struggles they faced was compelling and that the takedown of the hypocrisy of Elias Roottree was deserved. However, many took umbrage with the timing of the release and the tone of the book, which seemed vindictive. The fallout from the book led to the Roottrees company scrambling to release a statement, and due to a conflict of leadership, famously released multiple conflict official statements over 3 days. This confusing move was referred in popular culture due to a late-night sketch about indecisionitis, but more traditionally, analysts have been calling it the Roottrees riff. A few months later, due to Roottreemania, the book re-entered the charts and sold even better than the first time. What's this? So the 3 press releases from the Roottrees Candy Company after the release of 6 pieces was referred to as the Roottrees riff due to the clear conflicts between them. The first was fairly standard. It stated that there were no president of the Roottrees Company, but that the entire family was made aware of the release of the book and that they would be meeting as soon as possible. Only then could they verify the legitimacy of the claims it raised and decide next steps. The second release was emailed to business newspapers 3 hours later and announced that after a vote, Ron Roottrees would be taking over temporarily as an interim president. It also went on to state that Ron was aware of the book, had verified the claims within, and would look into compensating Mrs. Madsen and her family immediately. It also stated that the company lawyers would be taking immediate steps with the family to revisit the Clancy Trust terms to make sure nothing like this could happen again. It was quickly clear to business reporters and analysts that the time between the two press releases would not have been logistically sufficient to gather a majority of the family. Even using conference calls, this was reported on many news channels, and a third, much shorter press release came the next day. It claimed that a draft of the announcement was made prematurely and that Clark Rafferty LaRue and Ron Roottree would be taking over as the company's first joint presidents. Oh, so it's a joint thing. So it's not just a... Why was Clark being like, I never wanted to be president? Like, it sounded like he was doing all the work, but no, it's half the work. It also stated that any compensation plan would be based on a stringent verification process. You know what? Let's look up Clark Rafferty LaRue. Oh, so there's an older one of him. Time travel archive. Anyways, a few fan sites of the band, Jim and Diamond, seem to mention he used to make music with Clark Rafferty. They mentioned an album called These Times. I think I've heard of that song. What should I think it was this one. You know what? I'll come back to this later. Let's go back to the spider search and show the latest. So, anyways, Clark Rafferty LaRue is the new president of the Roottrees Corporation. I mean, it was nice of him to add on the LaRue part because, I mean, his daughters were like Rafferty LaRue. So anyways, this does not include Root, which appears to have its own new leadership. Oh, okay. Well, to be fair, yeah, it was the wife, like Brenda. So probably someone on a friend on her side, like someone in her family tree, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, in early March of 1999, about 5 months ago, it was announced that both Clark Rafferty LaRue and Ron Roottree would be taken over for what was essentially described as a transitional period in the aftermath of Six Pieces. About 2 weeks later, the company released a press statement that thanked Ron for his work, but announced that Clark was the new permanent president. Oh, so then he took over full time. I get it now. So most of the information about Clark you knew already. Many descriptions of him tend to focus on his advertising career and that his mother was Lauren Roottrees. Few seem to touch on his complex and volatile marital history. Since taking over, Clark has tried to remain out of the spotlight, but did have one notable foray into the public eye. He gained a lot of support when his first move was a statement in favor of accepting Sam and her family into the trust. This also served as an announcement that the Clancy Trust would no longer be handled by anyone in the family, since due to their financial motivation, none of them could ever be impartial. That is still nothing. Let's go back to evidence. Roottreemania, maybe? Roottreemania, immediately followed by the announcement that a rapper going by 5Ps was actually a Roottree. Collectively, popular culture seemed to focus on the Roottree family and 5Ps for a few weeks before everything felt oversaturated and society moved on. Because of the 5P saga, an underlying through line to how pop culture treated Roottreemania was an excuse for everyday people to claim they were also Roottrees. Daytime talk shows had I'm a Secret Roottree episodes. Late night hosts and guests made jokes about the other lost members of the family, and there was a widely shared website where you could fill in your own name to find out if you were a secret Roottrie. When you submit your name in, it simply said no with an image of Clark Rafferty LaRue giving you the finger. Roottreemania lasted only a few weeks, just long enough for Six Pieces to re-enter the charts and to trigger new printings of other Roottree-related mania. This included Lauren's diaries, VHS releases of Gwyn's old movies, as well as countless other unauthorized biographies, which mostly seemed to attempt to capitalize on the Roottree sisters, Carl and Brenda. These re-releases were too late to successfully capitalize on or extend the craze. As a result, most of them were failures, and countless novelty shirts that had variations of I'm a Secret Roottree became immediately unfashionable, though some people still wear them ironically. I'm thinking, what if I go to, and do 5Ps? Is that how it is? Yeah, I think that's how it is, right? Wow, I'm actually kind of stuck here. Wait, hold on. With the picture, let me just go. So with the picture and this, Joanna. So he said this is the mother, and then this was like Guy. So, I believe I did see a star. So what if this is him? Because then there was like a split up. So what if? Ooh, this is so new. So. Whoa. Wait. This is so different because I think I remembered that I had to look up the name and then both the first and the last name came through. So let's look up Fellows and Riley. Okay, cool. And then I think it was Joanna. Yes. And then Fellows. And then I believe it was mentioned secretary, not nurse, housewife, or hairdresser. Maybe I might cover more than just farmer and housewife. So I think this is also her picture. First affair, apparently. Ooh, scandalous. So I think this has to be the 5-piece himself, which is Felix. So Felix. Fellows. And then I think, what was it, rapper? No, not travel agent. It's not retail, no way. Maybe musician. That's just what I'm going on a limb here. Because I need to fill out something. And there's a star here, so... What, who else can I search for? IP's Roottreemania. Maybe Anomanon and Jane Doe Rootree? Maybe just Jane Doe Rootree? So, Anonymon Mom was the second high-profile case after Felix Fellows of a potential new Rootree being added to the Clancy Trust. Instead of claiming herself a Rootree, however, she claimed she... How do I sugarcoat this? She got together with Guy Hudson and that her daughter was a Rootree. The accusation came during the height of Roottreemania and began with a brief TV interview. She appeared in the shadows with a disguised voice and promoted an article about herself in the News Times. Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me look it up. Anomanon. There we go. Something new. An anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Time holding a picture of her daughter Jane Doe Rootree. The first and only mention of the phrase anonymum in News Time came the week after when they issued an apology for featuring her in the first place. A summary of the initial cover article has been added to evidence. Let me continue reading this. This is a lot. There is a lot of reading. She appeared in the shadows with disguised voice. She referred to his daughter as Jane Doe Rootree. The name Anonymum was not self-inflicted. It seemed to spring up organically because nobody knew how else to refer to her. The day after the News Time article, Sam Madsen publicly supported Anonymum due to some parts of the story she found particularly credible. With the momentum from Sam's endorsement, Anonymum went on a media blitz. Ultimately, this backfired as more details came out. People became skeptical of her story due to the extreme similarity to 5Ps. Her accusation even included many of the same details as his mother's story. This included her job, secretary, and the time period, late 70s. Yeah, but Joanna was like mid-70s. Anyways, after fumbling the 5-piece story so quickly, the Rootrees were more prepared to handle all Clancy Trust-related cases. Within a week, a DNA test proved that Anonym's daughter could not be related to the Roottrees. This was announced at a joint press conference with lawyers representing both Anonymam and the Roottrees. Each party ensured their respective clients provided accurate samples immediately after the negative results were released. Many of those who had already been skeptical felt vindicated. Others who had built up hope that history could repeat itself after 5Ps felt duped. Many people suspect the whole affair had been a hoax to gain fame and money. Many demand that Anonymam can be held accountable, and some people even began to attempt to track down her true identity. The Roottrees company felt pressure to put out a second statement to try to curb some of the backlash, even going so far as to say, though it was scientifically proven that Jane Doe Roottree is not a Roottree, this doesn't mean that her mother and Guy Hudson were not involved in the affair. She had every right to make her claim, as it has been verified that her stories about Guy Hudson were not exaggerations. Please leave their family alone. Many people claim this high-profile anticlimax and public backlash was the beginning of the end for Roottreemania. Since much of the fun was shared fascination about secret Roottrees, others think that, like any fad, it just ran its course naturally. Regardless, this was the final notable event related to the release of 6 pieces, and things soon went back to normal. Jane Doe Roottrie was already been eliminated as a potential new Roottrie by the company's lawyers, who are the ones verifying your work. Anonymam's affair does not appear on your updated tree. Okay. So Jane Doe Roottrie article. Oh, I see. These two are blurred. Here we go again, another claim to the famous name. So it was determined for a DNA test that Anonymam's daughter was not a Roottrie. This article, which did refer to her daughter as Jane Doe Roottrie, but did not coin the phrase Anonymam, came before all that right around the first time her first TV interview. This is a summary. As an anonymous woman appeared on the cover of News Time shortly after 5Ps was confirmed to be a member of the Roottrie family. In an homage to the previous cover, she holds a photo of her daughter. Unlike 5Ps, she wished to remain anonymous, and both photos were obscured. The anonymous woman claimed to have had an affair with Guy Hudson while she was working as his secretary. She and another woman were hired at the same time during a transition period, while many of the secretaries that had worked under Zach Morden were already gone. She says that she and the other woman were both underqualified, as neither had typewriter experience. According to other staff members interviewed, Guy had his own quote-unquote requirements for hiring women. Oh, that sounds so nasty. So Guy Hudson liked to throw lavish parties, and the longer he was president, the more excuses he found. Oh no, the power got onto his head, went into his head, and think he was untouchable. That is just probably the most cliche and annoying thing, is like when you're like power-seeking, power-hungry people. Like, the second they feel like they are higher, like they're above the law or above government, they feel like nothing can touch them and that they can do whatever the heck they want. But, where was I? Okay, let me just repeat this because I lost where I was. So Guy Hudson liked to throw lavish parties, and the longer he was president, the more excuses he found. The anonymous woman persists that these parties mostly seem to be an excuse to have after parties at Guy's home, featuring much more alcohol and other substances. She claims she got together with him at one of these after parties. She confronted Guy when she found out she was pregnant. Guy didn't seem fazed, and they came to an arrangement. He paid her a significant amount of hush money on a recurring basis under the table. She used it to move away and start a new life with her daughter. When Guy passed, the money stopped coming, and she assumed things had run their course. She went back to work at the department store and hoped that nobody would ever look too closely at how she paid for her house. She told everyone that her daughter's father walked out on one day and never came back. She claimed that after seeing a fantastic article in News Time, she realized that she wasn't the only one this happened to. While she never worked at the Roottrie company at the same time as 5Pete's mother, Joanna, their stories seem eerily similar, and she knew Felix was telling the truth right away. The article presented no tangible evidence of the anonymous woman's time at Roottrees, and all of the payments were allegedly made in cash. However, using details that she provided to Newstime, their reporters were able to reach out to the other woman hired at the same time, who also remained anonymous. They successfully fact-checked the timeline of both women and can confirm the existence of the infamous after-parties. 5P's case was strengthened, and this news story was subsequently published. So yeah, even though these are blurred out, I can't even click on those. But still, that's nothing... What else can I look for? I'm gonna cheat by looking at the ducky. I'm pretty sure I searched everything on notable events. Oh, you're saying like I need to look up more of 5Ps? 5Ps? Oh, wait, I don't think I looked up like this. 5Ps, aka Felix Fellows, is a rapper who has found some recent radio play after being publicly confirmed as a long-lost Roottrie and entitled to part of their fortune. His alias 5Ps is a play on 5 pieces, an article you find on a website known for their particularly harsh reviews of modern music gives his most recent album, Root of All Evil, 1 star out of 7 for whatever reason, with the headline More Poser Than My Action Figure Collection. Okay, so... Root of All Evil. I'm probably gonna need to highlight that. Let me just edit this. Root of All Evil. The review mentions his real name is David, and he used to go by Dirty Davy. Oh, so his... Felix is not his actual name. Real name... David. And the author... Okay, so the review mentioned his real name is David, and he used to go by Dirty Davy. And the author rused the fact that this rebranching was a blatant marketing stunt at the expense of his mother's tragic past. She overdosed when he was 16. Apparently, only one of the songs on the album is new, and the others were simply rewritten to turn blatant references to all these into clumsy euphemisms. His rise to prominence was kick-started when he appeared a few months ago on the cover of Newstime holding a photo with his mother with Guy Hudson. At first, the Roottrees company denied it vehemently. Miracle Roottrees even appeared on the same magazine a week later. But since then, they backtracked and publicly welcomed him to the family. Their press release at the time stated that they had new evidence that confirmed his story. Let's go to Modern Music Monthly and Root of All Evil. You're kidding me! Is it more like this? Okay, so Root of All Evil is a 5P's debut album. According to various sources, the album is mostly material that 5P's recorded for his mixtapes before he became notable, but he re-recorded with lyrical differences and professional production. All Your Problems was the first and only single released. Oh, let me try that. All Your Problems. Really? Was the first and only single release. After dropping the single, 5P's announced that he retained the infamous celebrity lawyer Stevie Whitlock to sue his family. To date, it doesn't seem like he's followed through. At first, the single didn't make much of a splash, but Whitlock, known for publicity stunts, paid thousands of teenagers a few dollars an hour to call and request the video on MTV, which increased its profile and MTV eventually caught on and banned the video together, which turned received national news coverage and made the song even more popular. No. Thank you. Gonna go back on this. What else? Root of Evil? Oh yeah. There we go. This track is the only new song on the album. The subject matter of the song is the hypocrisy of those that claim money is evil. He points out that the only people who think money is evil are those that have it, those that can afford not to be greedy. In the song, 5Piece triumphantly talks about talking the Roottrees' wealth due to it being his birthright and giving it to those who need it most. You find a copy of the song on a suspicious-looking website and download it for the records. Sure. All your problems. Wait, I can even listen to this? Alright. I'm just gonna read the lyrics and listen to the music at the same time. So, here we go.
Attention, attention, Roottrees. This is 5Piece coming at you from the real world. You know, the place you ain't ever lived in.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Root of all your
Man, y'all are hypocrites, sitting back in your massive estates, built from the cash that your ancestors gave you, acting like you somehow deserve it, based on your family's creations. Yo, but look at here, sonny, don't you come for our money, or you might burn bright in hellfire someday, like that Madsen chick and her two dads. My pappy's cleansing trust should keep you away. Yo, it's disturbing, catching a sermon from a geezer who's never known hurt, but blurts out these claims that somehow we're sinners cause we didn't earn it. When all of your work that came free with your name, you expect me to treat your lectures on greed as some expert creed from he without blame. But instead, I turn my other cheeks and spread them. When you give me a kiss, you'll know just where to aim.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. So once more with passion, tell this poor tragic orphan your mansions and Porsches are actually horrible.
How I'm better off penniless, grasping for morsels. I wanted my share.
That's actually extortion. With your candy ass name, synonymous with sweets. Oh, you wanna call me classless? I'm gangster from Portland, but I play that game. I came up on the streets, the only streets you reppin' are Park Place and Boardwalk. Hypocrisy, monopoly is toppling. When I knock, have G's.
Top off my pockets, please.
Cause the same God that got to steal my mom from me is what he wants, right? You to live in poverty. And if you're suddenly not eager to unhand that fortune, that's unfortunate. I guess I'm gonna have to take my portion, and I'll do it all legally. Class action, courtrooms, decorum. I'm way past your fancy ass dormant.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Bring the choir in.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Yeah.
You say money is a root of all your problems. Let me take those problems away.
Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. Whoever calls dollars the root of all evil, just trying to make small pursuits of real people. You silver spoon feeds you the world's purest treacle, while real world folks burning spoons for the needle. Whoever calls dollars.
Okay, so I know I'm gonna probably upset some people, but if I'm being real, I'm not a big fan of rap music. So because for me it's like trying to process everything. Like whenever there's like a rap song, everyone just either speaks so quick, even too quick for me. It's just, and it's the type of music too. So Anyways, I'm still trying to think, what is number one with this one? Should I do Elias Roottrees? Okay, so this is a recent one because, yeah, this is the older one. So, latest. Elias and Gwyneth Roottrees were never really celebrities, but the general public's perception of them as classic faces associated with the Roottrees Candy Company has always been in somewhat high regards. This was Elias' attention as a family man with his family brand. Since Six Pieces, the candy company has placed much less of an emphasis on Elias as a historical brand-connected figure, but there have also been those who have argued that it was his right to decide how to split his inheritance and that he did nothing wrong. This had led some heated television exchanges and countless op-eds. The first Anderson Maple Farm only used to be a popular tourist attraction during the summer months when it had special tours. However, it has seen an explosion of off-season business as some religious and political groups decided to visit to show support for Elias and Gwyneth's traditional values and financial rights. This rise in support was in turn followed by pickets from gay rights activists when some particularly inflammatory organizations made them their pilgrimages. Amongst all this conflict, the farm has since shut down seemingly indefinitely. The website says check back later, but has no date listed. The quotes from Bess Williams' book appear to have been taken down. Bess Williams' book? Wait. I did not think... Could I try? Six Pieces. Unwrapping America's Sweetest Family. Unwrapping America's Sweetest Family. It's cap sensitive, right? There we go. This wasn't supposed to be split. So hardcover nonfiction, Sam Madson's book was released earlier this year and details the truth about Elias Roottrees as well as Sam's fathers, Edward Clancy Roottrees and John Miller. You help verify your story so much of the book's core contents are familiar to you. That said, Sam had some sections on other family secrets and rumors. Much of it didn't matter to the primary purpose of the book, and some of it is new to you and may be important to your new search. Okay? Well, let's see here. Okay, so there are like 5 hints in this book. I love the cover. So, okay, more reading. Sam's book has a few different passages about her own history with the company and the rumors and gossip she collected during that tenure. She ran the farm for a period starting around 1968 after the passing of Elias Roottrees until her daughter Gwyneth took over in 1984. Most of the relevant rumors coincide with the reign of Guy Hudson, who took over as president in 1978. Sam was very much not a fan of Guy, and according to Six Pieces, it was an open secret within the family that Guy was very much not a fan of remaining faithful to his wife, Patricia. Many of their hires at the time were young, single women, and Guy often spent a lavish amount of money on private parties. This is so scandalous. This was 20 years ago, and Sam warns that most of it is hearsay. Still, you find the following information that may be relevant. One of Sam's farm supervisors was named Elizabeth. Elizabeth had a daughter who Sam never met, but who worked as one of Guy's secretaries. According to Elizabeth, a caterer from a local restaurant called Antonellis met her daughter at one of Guy's parties, and they eloped quickly due to her pregnancy. Elizabeth wasn't aware that the party was for swingers. Rumor has it that her daughter showed up with Guy and didn't seem comfortable switching partners. Guy's main positive contribution to the company involved expanding to markets previously untapped by Roottree. However, when he went on trips overseas, they were often for weeks at a time, and Guy was known for spending more time and money on unofficial business than meetings with distributors and manufacturers. It was said that he bribed at least one politician to open a factory in Brazil. Oh my goodness. My poor throat and voice. There is also a section where Sam speculates that Elias may have also cheated on Well, I mean, it doesn't fall from the tree. I mean, maybe generations in, but still. This is some juicy info. Elias cheating on his wife? Well, I mean, he was a hypocrite. He disowned his, gay son and with the whole blood is thicker than syrup shenanigans. Anyways, Gwyneth was always much kinder to Sam than Elias was, and was the first to invite Sam to family events. While she has no hard evidence, Sam always got the impression that Gwyneth was able to coerce Elias into allowing Sam back into the family using some kind of leverage. Ooh, blackmail. Okay. So that's why Elias had suddenly had this turnaround of, accepting Sam all of a sudden, because the wife blackmailed him. Instead of it being a natural course of events, she mentioned that Elias and Gwyneth were known to loudly argue, sometimes about another woman. There we go. Sam also says her son Ernie once asked her, "Who's Beth?" because he overheard them yelling about someone with that name. As far as Sam knows, Elias once had a secretary named Elizabeth, a different Elizabeth than the supervisor from the farm, but she never met her. Let me see. Where was it? Should I try this? Not because of a chain, just because it seems to be a common name for Italian restaurants. You may need to use a more local resource if you're looking for a specific... There's 5 hints here where we know Elizabeth. Oh, wait. Let me just update this. His name's not Felix, it was David. There we go. Nice fix. Alright, wait, what if, can I look up... We know that this was a red herring. Should I, look up this? Family Man, The Roottrees Legacy by Bess Williams was a very poorly received book about Elias. Let me just look up. I mean, I'll look up Caroline as well, just in case. Anyway, so Bess Williams. And then Family Man, The Roottrees Legacy. Family Man, The Roottrees Legacy. Sweet! Evidence! Can I also look up her? Oh, sweet! I got another printing! But anyways, after the release of 6 pieces, Caroline Morden did a television interview. Someone has uploaded a partial transcript of that interview on the television section of a messaging community. The transcript is only her answers and is missing the questions. This creates a somewhat confusing reading experience, but does give you a bit more history about Caroline and some of her family members. Ooh, okay. So we got Family Man here. And there's 2 hints. So the dictionary defines propaganda as information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote or publicize a particular political cause or point of view. But if they were to replace that definition with a picture, it would be a picture of this book. The book tells you nothing new about Elias, and from what you know of his true feelings towards some of his extended family, you're not sure if it tells you anything true about Elias either. The reissue of this book was so lazy that they reused the famous photo of Elias from Business Watch, whose copyright had expired. The best thing it has going for that, it's only 85 pages long. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. Let's see here. So this was a cable news interview. A transcript of only Caroline's answers has been posted on a site about television. Thanks for having me. I never really fit into the family, so it didn't surprise me. She could have put me in if she wanted to talk about the time during my activism days when I almost got arrested for stealing the spark plugs out of all of her tractors, but I don't really think it fit her narrative. Yes and no, they never tried to kick me out or send me to live on a farm, if that's what you mean. But I was already pretty unpopular, and once everyone learned why I divorced my husband, few people paid me any attention. She's my wife, not legally, but we've been together for half of our lives. Call it what it is. I was 20 and had just had my daughter. I hate to look back on that time because I was a terrible mother the first few years. I left my daughter with my ex-husband and followed Guy on a private jet to Europe. He lost a tooth and a client. I found love and a better understanding of who I was. Still in our family's eyes, his trip was somehow more acceptable. Explain that? No, I couldn't stand him. Our family wrote off his behavior like he was some huge fan of romance or women, but he didn't like the entire women. It was doubly awkward for me because he was more supportive than most. I slowly figured out it was because he assumed I would be as shallow as he was. He was a workaholic. He seemed nice enough and did a good job. I didn't know him well. That was one of Sam's problems with our family. None of us did except Carl. Honestly, I get why she's ticked. I'd rather not speak ill of the dead, not unless you want more stories about Guy. With Carl, though, all I can say is we used to be friends before they sent him to private school. He came back a lot judgier. It made sense when they made him president. He was a lot like my father after they disciplined the fun out of him. After I started protesting the farms, he stopped returning my calls. Oh, well, he's harder to label. When I was a teenager, he was basically drunk or high or both all the time. He actually used to sell me some stuff. His problems with women were different than guys, but he never really judged me. I guess he knew it would be pretty hypocritical to judge anyone for anything. Back then, he was destructively unreliable in every way, but nowadays he's just kind of boring and old. I prefer that to how he used to be and to Guy and Carl, but it's still a cautionary tale. I hope I'm never that boring and old. So there weren't any hints in there, but there were some hints here. So we knew something about Elizabeth. Wait, what else? So I looked up her. Family man, a lawyer. We know that's out of the way. So we know that there was a mention. Wait, can I take the photo of the book? I mean this. Yes, I can. So then I think 21. So yeah, he has to be the first one. So Elias Roottrees, the first one, and President, the first. So okay, so I realized the difference. Like, if you notice the difference here, the first and last names were together, but then with the new ones, it's like you have to find the first name or the last names individually. Okay. Should I look? But I don't know. Should I re-look up the books? Yeah, like let me look up Lauren Roottrees life. What? Oh shoot! What was it? What was it mentioned? Okay, I kind of had to cheat and use the hint because I forgot the name of the book or the diary. So, a life between wars. Wait. A life. There we go. So it was republished in 1993 and 1999. Okay, let's go back to evidence. Okay, cruelty. This is entirely new. And there's something major here with the one. So, cruelty from Lauren Roottrees' diary written in 1963. It focuses on the relationship between her mother and father, while it offered only redundant information during your previous investigation. It mentions the subject of affairs and may be more useful this time around. Ooh, this is where we focus more on this on the scandalous stuff. So anyways, I am no stranger to true love. Jacob and I married at an age that most deem unfit for marriage, but he was also enlisting at an age that most deem unfit for war. We had no choice. I knew in my heart that our marriage was one for the ages. He and I would still be together today if not for Okinawa. That was nearly 20 years ago, but there is an emptiness in my soul. Oh, I feel bad for this girl. So I do not understand my contemporaries. So many girls I went to school with have taken multiple lovers. So many of my girlfriends' husbands have been unfaithful. If I am able to remain true to the ghost of a man with no chance of physical reciprocation, no potential for long conversation, how could it be so hard to love someone you can reach out and touch, someone you can joke with? I have not had to deal with such madness at home. My parents are a perfect match, in the worst way. My mother's cruelty is a perfect fit for my father's general spite. In turn, Pop's status enables her incessant need to gloat and feel superior. I have grown up with their cruelty and disdain for others my entire life. Even my family remains unspared. They make fun of my grandpop and his family, saying, blood is thicker than syrup, but nothing's thicker than Elias. They mimic Grandma Gwyneth's lisp and see her kindness as a weakness. Elias, please remember them. Not even our family's maladies and religion go unmocked. Remember, God only put one eye in miracle. I can say without a doubt in my mind that my parents have never had eyes for anyone outside their marriage. They're too self-centered to look astray. This might be important later down the line, but I don't feel like it's important now. Is it this? There we go. Oh, so this is updated. Chris Rapp 75 at Prodigy US. Okay, So anyways, Chris Rafferty's Prodigy site seemed to have been discovered by the masses. Gone are the art pictures of his cousins. Instead, it's a list of questions that people kept emailing him. The most relevant ones are the following. Oh my goodness. Are you the son of Clark Rafferty? Okay, he is. So it's his response. This is his response, and this is the question. So yes, but I didn't grow up with him. I remember him from when I was a little kid, but I moved away with my mom when I was very young. We left Pennsylvania and moved back home to Virginia. We lived there with Pete, my stepdad. My dad and I spoke a few times when I found his phone number on a check he sent us in the mail when I was 15. He was happy to hear from me, and now he calls me once a month and came to visit me at university. He tells me about things I don't remember and people like Guy Hudson and Eddie Madsen. My dad and I get along, but obviously we aren't very close. At least, in a way, it's not like cut ties in a negative way. At least they got some sort of bond. Did you ever meet the Roottrees? I used to know the Roottrees, but never the sisters. I was in the office sometimes when I was a kid, and I definitely met Guy Hudson before he passed. but I don't remember. My memory is weird. It's hard to know what I actually remember and what I only think I do because I have pictures. For example, I have a photo from when I was 5 and in the office with my dad and Guy was there. I made myself sick by eating chocolate and some woman who I don't know cleaned my face. I don't know if my memories of that came from the picture or not. The photo has been added to my evidence. Sweet, I'll look at that later. How did you have proof of Ernie Madsen's heart condition? I knew Ernie had a heart problem because my dad told me on one of our phone calls. I asked him about the poison because... One moment. Sorry, I needed to have some water. Okay. Okay. I asked him about the poison because I saw it on the Roottrees Curse website, and he emailed some old stuff including the proof, but even with the proof, the website didn't take it down. You spelled me out there. Yeah, I think I noticed it too, but I didn't really make a big deal of it. I'm not good at spelling or writing. I'm good at painting and other art. I'm going to school to learn how to edit movies. I want to make cartoons someday. Lulu is much better at spelling. Anyways, let's go to the evidence. Ooh, Chris Rafferty in the office. Okay, so this is probably Guy. Like, Chris when he's young. We got a woman here. And I think Clark when he was young. But this photo was on Chris Rafferty's website. According to Chris, it's a photo of him, his father, and Guy Hudson. While they were distracted, he snuck into the supply of chocolate they kept for visitors and tours. Chris Rafferty did not know who the woman in the photo was. Okay. Wait, should I go back and see... Yes, this got updated. So that's him right there. And then... Oh yeah, another photo for him. So this is probably... Yeah, it's closer to that, so this is probably it. What else can I do? So he has no idea who the woman is, so... Alright. Back to this drawing board. Who else? Wrong. I did not mean to click on that. Who else? November Roottrees? Or Ronald Roottrees? No. What about Stephanie Jones? It seems Brian Jones has been busy updating Stephanie Jones' campaign website. 2 new sections exist. The first is baby photo. Oh yeah, because she was pregnant! I'm pretty sure... Yeah, she was pregnant. Like, if I look back at this photo here, she was pregnant, right? Anyways, let me just continue. There you see a picture of their new family together in the hospital. According to the site, our daughter was named after her grandmother, which ended up being very fitting considering she was born the night before Christmas. Oh, she was born on Christmas Eve! The second is what's next. There's not much of substance there right now, but it lists some small accomplishments and finishes with the recent rise in popularity and controversy surrounding my extended family. There has been some extra attention on me. Stay tuned for announcements in the coming months about how I plan to use this publicity to accomplish bigger and better things. Okay, so let's go to evidence right here and... Oh, look at your baby! We don't have... Okay. Brian Jones posted this photo of his family together in the hospital following the birth of their newborn girl. His new daughter is wearing an adorable little Santa hat, and his wife Stephanie is giving her signature thumbs up move from her campaign literature. Yeah, pictures. Let me take pictures. So we already know their names, but oh wait a minute, 1998. This is her. Okay, I got it. Stephanie Landon, and then Brian Jones. So this picture, and then this picture, and then she was... Wait, what was she again? What was she? Yeah, politics, like campaign. So, she wasn't a police officer. And then she got a baby. She named... It had to be after her grandmother, so maybe like Carol. Short for Caroline. And then Jones. And then obviously, baby. I locked stuff in! What I correct? Oh, 4? Yes, yes, yes. And yes, and yes. Sweet! Major booyah! Hello, someone's at the door.
Has Clark reached out to you? Well, let me give you a short history lesson about the last few months of my life.
Yeah, fire away, Sam.
3 different people contacted me, claiming that somewhere in their history, they might be Roottrees. First, that young man, the rapper. I ignored that one. He seemed dubious. But then I saw the news. I felt terrible, so I began helping the others. Because my doubts with Felix were so misfounded, I ended up putting too much faith in the second person that approached me. I went to the media prematurely. I admit my mistake there. But the third person who contacted me also had a credible case. Before I could help, the company got to them somehow. The fact that the family silenced them doesn't seem to fill me with hope when it comes to Clark's intentions. But you're making progress based on the leads he gave you. It's really hard for me to get a read on him. I'll let you handle it. I've sent you the case I've been working on, and some company records I managed to track down.
Oh, we got some new evidence right here. Something about Clementine?
The records are quite dense, but hopefully they're useful. Good luck.
Okay, now with like Sam's new evidence, we'll be able to like mark more on these scandalous Roottrees family stuff. So, well, we've officially one and done fully covered the update here. So, all I know is that Stephanie's family line is clean. Well, I mean, apart from the whole baby making deal, but still, the line is clean. There's no infidelity, no split ups, no scandals. She's straight as an arrow. But let's look at the evidence now. So we got a picture of Mary Beth Clementine. Ooh, can I take pictures? Yes, I can. Why did I just immediately assume yes before I clicked on the faces? I feel like if I see faces, it's just obvious I can click on them. But just how embarrassing would it be if like I'd be like, oh yeah, and then I couldn't, and then I'll be like, aw, embarrassing. So this photo was given to you by Sam Madsen. A woman named Regina Clementine came to her and claimed that her husband has confessed he thinks he's a Roottrie. The details of this case can be found in your evidence. Stewart is the older boy wearing a vest. The woman in the photo is Mary Beth Clementine, a singer who may have had an affair with Oh. Okay, we need to place Miracle down somewhere. So, oh wait. Yeah, what? Let's put him down. Miracle, and yeah, there we go. So I believe this is her. And she split up with someone who I think could be this guy. And she might be a musician, like a singer. And her name was Mary Beth Clementine. So let me just look it up. Mary Beth, and Clementine. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, backtrack. Let me try and backtrack. Wait, let me go back to my history. Is it, why is my audio going a little funny? Hold on. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I'm like hearing like slight static in my audio. Is it the music? Okay, you know what? I feel like the rest of the portion of the music is the main volume is going to be gone because I have no idea what's going on. So, anyways, let me look up Spider Search. I I wanted to talk about Felix Fellows. He mentioned his mother because I don't think she was a secretary anymore, right? No, can you hear like the faint static in the sounds, like the music? Because it's only the main volume. Okay, I have no idea what's going on with the sounds. Like, I'm hearing slight static. I think it could be just me completely losing my marbles. Anyways, let's go back. So, there was something about. Shoot, I should have dotted this down when I had the chance. Now I can't find it again. We know it's Joanna, but apparently on this board here, her last name isn't Fellow, so we need to find a different surname. But I don't think she was a secretary. She did move on eventually. Should I maybe like look her up? Joanna Fellows. Joanna Fellows. Give me something. Okay, yeah. Nothing. Let me just. Not 6 pieces, Roottreemania. Sorry, the static is just completely bugging me. I don't know if you're hearing it, but it's definitely bugging me. Or it could be my headset that I'm using that's. Either way, I'm muting the main volume. It is just annoying me so much, and I can't think properly with it. So I'm sorry, the majority of the music is like I don't know, maybe I have to like quit and then rejoin. You know, maybe I should try that. I'll just put it high again. Oh, she did retail. Oh, okay, okay. Okay, but not we don't know. I don't think the last name is correct, but it was retail. All right. Okay, now back to Mary Beth Clementine. I did put her in, and then I did put him in, assuming he was her partner. But wait, hold on, backtrack. Where was that photo? Yeah, there were the kids. So this is definitely the oldest because he's the tallest. Um, yeah, Stuart is the older boy wearing a vest. Okay, so I'll put him here. So he was Stuart, and then I believe Clementine? Yes. But I don't know about his occupation or who he married. And then I think this this is the younger one. All right. Okay, hold on. So now let's go to the email. Okay, here we go. So, from 6 pieces at Prodigy US to Genealogy Genie Prodigy US, this is all the information I have about Regina Clementine Nee Salazar. What? From New Orleans, Louisiana, and her husband, Stuart Clementine. Oh, wait, Regina. Wait. Stuart Clementine. So, wait. Could Regina be niece Salazar? Hold on. So Regina, or could I do Clementine? Because I can't find the Nee Salazar. Anyways, she wrote me about a month ago. Apparently, the Roottrees lawyers went after her since then. By the time I received her letter and called her, she told me she couldn't cooperate anymore. That is actually sad. Well, I don't know. Her husband, who is a police officer. Oh, okay. We got you. We got your job. Boom. You know what? Maybe I will put the music back on. I'll have to tolerate the little static. All right, where were you? Oh, yeah, you're right here. So I don't know if this is all locked in yet, but anyways, let me continue to read the evidence. Her husband, who is a police officer, had never knew his father, told her he thought he might be a Roottrie, but he's estranged from his family and didn't want to pursue it because he had no proof. She wrote to me behind his back. Normally I wouldn't be so sure, but she had some pretty credible facts. Some of it I've been able to confirm. Stuart's mother was named Mary Beth Clementine. She was pretty well known in the 30s to 50s, a singer who went on tour to a lot of churches. You can look her up online, and she was pretty big proponent of adoption. I know for a fact that she came to Butler County a few times. I remember her from when I was younger, and Regina said that Stuart told her that they always seemed to spend a lot of time at the Miracle Church. She sent me a photo to prove that she's who she says she is. I've attached it to this email. Sam Madison, Rapping America's Sweetest Family is out now. Please consider saving a tree and not printing this email. Yeah, wait, I looked this up, right? Yeah, I did. I did look up this. All right. So there's like 3 clues in here, but where can I find it? I only know about the husband's, well, you know, well, the wife's name and the husband's job. But what else? Company records, 1975. Ooh, and buckle up, we got a lot. So you were given some partial staff records to cross-reference by Sam Madsen. These records are based on old tax mailing information and only detail the employees that work directly for Roottrees or in their corporate office. The many laborers on their farms and in their factories are not listed. You're not sure how helpful it will be except for cross-referencing Guy's secretaries and visits overseas. Oh, he went overseas. Good gosh. Spiders searching people just because they are listed in these books will likely be very time consuming and a waste of your time. So, leadership, Zach Morden, special manager Ernest Madsen Jr., office staff Edward Roottree, Lloyd Carpenter, Carl Monroe, Elizabeth Cravensworth, production management Eli C. Roottrie, Fred Cross, Albert Cross, Douglas Rosenberg, secretaries. Oh, Robertson, that's her name. Okay. Where was she? Okay, let me fix. So that's why the split. So maybe that's all correct now and can be all locked in. So, anyways, let's see. Doris Mays, Beth Knox, Farm and Manufacturing, Samantha Madsen, John Miller, Elizabeth Theroux, Thomas Green, Fred Gleason, Stuart Todd, Sam Harmon, Robert Logan, Michael Crane, Jack Keatings, and major expenses none. Okay, so 76 to 77. In 1977, it was announced that Zach would be retiring and Guy would be taking over at the start of 1978. They held a retirement party in November before spending the final month working on the transition. During 1976 and 77, the following changes took place. So leadership, Guy Hudson has replaced Ernest Madsen Jr. as special management. Patrick Decker was hired as office staff in 77. 76, Eli C. Roottrie is no longer employed by Roottrees. 77, Ernest Madsen Jr. is now listed under product management. Secretaries, 76, Christine Farrow was hired. Joanna Robertson is no longer listed among the secretaries, but a Joanna Fellows has been added to the list. Joanna Fellows and Beth Knox are no longer employed by Roottrees in 77. Christine Farrow is no longer listed amongst the secretaries, but a Christine Garland has been hired. 76, John Miller is no longer employed by Roottrees, and Gwyneth Madsen was hired in 76. Okay, so major expensive. Beth Knox, 50-year work anniversary bonus, 50,000. Zach Morton retirement party, 20K. Okay, 78 to 79. So in 1978, Guy Hudson took over. This began a particularly volatile period in the company's staffing. Many travel expenses were listed, and Guy began trying to develop new 5-piece flavors. The following changes were recorded. So, 1978, Guy Hudson replaces Zachariah. 79, Edward Roottree, Elizabeth Cravensworth, and Lloyd Carpenter are no longer employed. Raffertoons is now listed as office staff. Albert Cross and Fred Cross are no longer employed. Christine Garland is no longer working for Roottrees, but Beatrice Watts and Corrine Schwartz were hired. Juliet McCullen and Doris Mays are no longer employed. Lisa Lewis and Valerie Ewing were hired. Thomas Green, Michael Crane, Elizabeth Theroux, and Jack Keatings are no longer employed. Emily Seinfeld and Sam Cattrall were hired. Robert Logan is no longer employed. William Sams was hired. Special Services Interpreter. Susan Ford was hired under a special category that only existed for 1 year. Ooh, this is a lot of major expenses. Okay, so Presidential Office Refurbishment, 52K. 5-piece Flavor Department, Caviar, 10K a month. Oh yeah, wait, there was some mention of caviar in the when I was looking up all the original Roottrees. But he'd said it was only like temporary. So Edward Roottree retirement was $7,500. Christmas tree bash $7,500. New Year's Eve $7,500. Travel expenses to Australia, China, France, and Brazil. Okay, I can understand how expensive that is. Butterscotch 10K a month, and then caviar 10K a month. 7,500 for the 4th of July Spectacular, and the 7,500 for New Year's Eve. Maybe travel expenses? Or should I do Australia? Or like maybe like a Roottrees. Like I gotta mention Roottrees, right? Oh! Ding ding ding! So Roottrees Australia is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative in summer 1979. According to a history website for Roottrees Australia, Charles Martin, who owned a company that manufactured licorice in Australia, was tapped to run the Roottrees factory after he impressed the American leadership of the Roottrees Candy Company at the time. Roottrees Australia did have some success, but only in certain regions. The manufacturing leg of the company shuttered in 92 after the passing of Martin, and Roottrees Australia now serves as an importer and distributor. Ooh, okay, let's see. What about China? China now. Let's look up China. Roottrees China. China Roottrees is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Roottrees candy. It was developed as part of the Roottrees Everywhere initiative in the summer of 79. During the late 70s, China began to go through a period of economic reform. This led to new opportunities for American companies and the Roottrees Candy Company to decide to pounce. Lang Hongbo, who was said to personally win over the Roottrees family and was the owner of the multiple textile factories, did not wish to import the ingredients and build a special factory to manufacture the candy in China. So instead, they made a deal to import bulk, unpackage Roottrees candy and label it for not only China, but additional markets. Hongbo, who was already in his mid-50s when the deal happened, only had daughters, and his brother Lang Hongyu took control upon his passing in 86. After Hongyu passed in 92, it passed to the oldest child from the next generation, Lang Xinyu. I don't know, can I look up this person? I can look up this person. Now I want to hold on. Now I'll come back, but now I want to know about Charles Martin. I'll read this and then I'll read the other person. Charles Martin was a candy manufacturer in Australia born in 1923. He had a popular brand of licorice called Martin's Licorice Bullets. Most of his history is unrelated to the Roottrees. However, in 1979, he helped to develop Roottrees Australia. He used his own wealth to build a new factory, and they distributed the maple treats through the same methods he had already been using for his previous candy venture. Okay. A website about Australian commerce mentions that he had a very unusual business agreement with the main Roottrees company in the US. Much like how the Clancy Trust distributed the profits from the Roottrees company evenly to the Roottrees family, the profits of the Roottrees Australia would be split 50-50 between the American Roottrees company and Martin himself, for him to do with what he wishes. This made Martin very, very wealthy, but also led to many cost-cutting measures meant to increase profits as much as possible, especially towards the end of Martin's life in the early 1990s. Roottrees candy gained a poor reputation in Australia and sales suffered immensely. Charles' vast fortune was passed along to his daughter Robin Martin, who sold both businesses at the first opportunity. Can I just search up this person? Okay, so Robin Martin is featured in many of the top 100 wealthiest women in the world lists. She owns a private island off of the coast of Australia where she reportedly has her own exclusive retreat. She has no husband, and there was a widely circulated rumor somewhere in the mid-70s that she had a medical procedure to ensure she never would have children. You find a joke on a site called Edgy Jokes that implies she's quite promiscuous and has a punchline involving Robin's eggs. For what it's worth, Martin seemed to lean into the rumors in the 80s. She once showed up at a charity function with 3 very attractive men, each wearing a shirt that said simply "satisfied partner" on it. Alright, so this Robin Martin had a medical procedure that she can't have children. But does she count on the, like, I mean, did she sleep or get together with any of these Roottrees? I guess we'll never know, really. Anyways, so let me go back to my history, and then we're going to do Lang Xingyu, because this is new, and I think I printed something. So Lang Xingyu in China, the family name comes first. So Lang is her last name. Okay, well, thank you for clarifying any possible confusion on my end. So Xinyu is a businesswoman currently running the Lang Tai textile company. She was recently listed in an article on a website written by and for women. The article entitled Empowered. Just gonna click things until something new comes up. No? I wonder if I can, like, okay. Let me just go back to history and this one right here. Alright. Is about the recent rise of women entrepreneurs in China. The article states that due to her lack of brothers, she has a younger sister. Lang Xingyu took over as CEO of her family's company in 1992 after her elderly uncle was deemed unfit to run the company due to mental deterioration. Oh, dementia, that is horrible, you know. This was apparently an extremely controversial move amongst the company's employees, and some of them, the article does not state how many, quit and wrote a letter stating that she must have coerced him in his vulnerable state. Since then, the company has been performing well. Her nephew, who is currently her second in command, is expected to take over when she retires. In the meantime, the board's stance has been a twist on a popular proverb. The article roughly translated as, someone that has proven they can do something well can do it 100 times well, and an unproven leader could doom us all. The article also offhandedly mentions that Xinyu was an early adopter of IVF and helped her sister have a child. There is an unsourced picture of Xinyu in the article. It says that it's been from 92 when she took over. She was 45 at the time. It has been added to your evidence. Okay. Wait, hold on. Let me go back to evidence. Oh, okay, I see here. But wait, where was the other where's the one with the other Rootree companies, like all over the world? Right here, travel expenses. So I've done Australia and China. Now let's do France. Rootree France. I'm going to cover all bases on the travel stuff. So Rootree France. Rootree France is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Rootree candy. It was developed as part of the Rootree Everywhere initiative in summer of 79. Apparently, Rootree France was a non-starter. Negotiations broke down pretty late in the process after the company had already been formed, and then the leadership of Rootree went through a very large change soon after. The CEO of Rootree France was meant to be Tristan Robert. Okay, let's see this person. Tristan Robert is a businessman who at the one time was in negotiations to take over Rootree France. He is still alive, and you can come across an interview unrelated to Rootree from a few months ago. It seems that other countries have not been immune to Roottreemania, as you recognize the word Rootree in one of the questions. It seems the interviewer snuck in a question about his experience with the company at the end of the 70s. The article is in French and takes some time to translate section by section. He mentions Guy by first name only, and the tale he tells is quite ugly. Ooh, drama. The translation is as follows. Guy, the president of Rootree, was one of the worst men I have ever met. He approached my wife about having an affair, which she refused. He then kept insisting that this was the best way to celebrate the end of our business contract. Okay, I kind of agree with you. And props to your wife for staying loyal to you. I don't think he expected her to say no, and I don't think he thought she would tell me what happened. I punched him in the face and refused to attend another meeting with this man. They lost a lot of money on this deal because not only was he a terrible person, but he was also a terrible businessman. Yeah, the dude's a womanizer. When he passed shortly after, it felt like the universe was working things out. I wasn't surprised to learn he had a secret child. He seemed to treat women like collectible pocket monsters. Shouldn't be laughing. It seems mentioning Pokemon sidetracks the questions a bit, and the interviewer never returns to the subject of Rootree. Okay. So he was to take over the company, the France version, but of course Guy had to be such a sticky beak and, trying to, have an opportunity to take his pants off every once in a while. Just making it weird. Okay. Wait, okay, last one now. Brazil. Okay, Rootree Brazil. Rootree Brazil. Rootree. What's with the misspelling here? Sorry. I'm too high strung. What? No. I'm just too hyper. Sometimes erroneously, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing or misenunciating words, referred to as the Rootree Brazil, is one of the companies created to manufacture and distribute Rootree candy. It was developed as part of the Rootree Everywhere initiative near the beginning of 79. Unlike some of the other Rootree Everywhere results, Rootree Brazil seems to be a success. You do some rough translating and find a significant amount of information about it. Okay, here's some dot points. Brazil was the only region in which caviar-flavored 5-pieces released at the end of 78, which were a hit. The primary reason that the factory still exists to this day is solely to create that flavor, which comes in its own standalone 5-piece bag with Portuguese writing. A small town named Alvalagos, near the municipality of São Bernardo do Campo, became the location chosen by the Rootree Candy Company after the newly elected local politician named Edson Soares. Oh, I gotta look up this person. Heard that they were planning a new factory and petitioned them in the early 79. The factory was controversial as locals did not want it there. The Roottrees visited Brazil around Christmas and managed to break ground on the project. Since then, however, it has been operating relatively smoothly, except for 2 incidents. Let me guess. Guy? The first was Incendio do Bordo in 82, and the second was an unsuccessful strike in 95 that involved all of the factory workers being replaced. The factory was originally built and run according to paperwork at the time by a small company called Nova Copa Cao de Doce Brazil, which literally translates to New Brazil Candy Corporation. This company no longer exists. Not much information has ever existed about it, and the Roottrees now run Roottrees Brazil entirely. So where was the name? Where was the name? Where was the name? Yeah, bingo, found ya! Edson Soares was a Brazilian politician. You find a dissertation published by a university student as part of their PhD in history. It focuses on the rise of democracy in Brazil. It seems up until 88, Brazil was run by the military, and the politics during that time were often a hotbed for corruption and nepotism. The paper tells of a few politicians at the time, including Edson Soares. Edson is a former mayor of Alagoas, Brazil. Before politics, he was a manager at an automotive manufacturing plant for a major American car company. He was put in charge of Alagoas by the military government in 73. As mayor, he used his manufacturing background and knowledge of American business to establish new factories, distribution plants, and other business ventures in the area. This had 2 side effects. First, he became quite rich. Second, many locals were forcibly relocated. This did not make him a popular mayor, and what the paper speculates was a move to counteract this unpopularity. His wife, Sonia, was discreetly put in charge of a television station called Telered. He often used this connection to ensure supporters would appear on local television, spouting his beliefs and emphasizing his political victories. He remained in office until 88, when he was defeated in the first election after the military government was no longer in control. After this election loss, he quickly left the town behind. It is not known where he has gone, but the dissertation even speculates he likely fled to stay alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Sorry, should not bring that song into this. But I wonder. Let me look. I'm trying this method and seeing if something pops. Ooh, is it news time? No. Okay, nothing. Worth a shot, you know. Okay, but that's all the travel expensive. Oh wait, have I read 80 to 81 yet? Oh, I haven't, because of the little red thing in the corner. The volatility continued. Many new employees don't tend to stick around very long. The following changes were recorded. Terry O'Connor was hired. Susan Ford had been moved to office staff. Douglas Rosenberg is no longer employed. Edwin Morrison and Robert Andrews were hired. Edwin Morrison, just only survived a year. Secretaries Corinne Schwartz and Beatrice Watts are no longer employed. Linda Lewis and Angela Ingram were hired. Lisa Lewis and Valerie Ewing are no longer employed. Catherine Garrett was hired. So Farm Manufacturing, William Stamps is no longer employed. Emily Seinfeld is no longer employed, but an Emily Barnes is now listed. Oh, wait, are you saying she's married? Emily Barnes is now married? Yeah, like Gwyneth Madsen is now Gwyneth Control? Wait, I need to look back at the original. Yeah, see? She did, yeah. Because she married, so technically she still works at the company. She just had to rewrite, I think she had to re-put all her stuff in as her married name. So Susan Ford no longer works in the department. Alright, so major expenses. Strawberry, 10K a month. What the fudge is Zigua? And 10K a month? Is that an actual... What is... is this? I'm gonna have to Google research later, because what the fudge? Oh, and butterscotch, 10K a month, caviar, 10K a month, New Year's Eve ball, the 4th of July, Christmas tree, strawberry again, this random flavor again, butterscotch again, caviar, Grandorf Dove donation, 250K. Alright, let's look at the last one now, from 82 to 84. So Guy Hudson passed in May of 82, so the first few months of that year continued along the same pattern as they had been. Things quickly changed when Ernie took over. Most of the extraneous expenses ended, and all of the secretaries, most handpicked by Guy Hudson, were let go. Stan Madsen left Roottree in 84, so this is the last set of books you have access to. Okay, so the following changes is Ernest Madsen Jr. replaces Guy because he passed. Carl Roottree joins as special management. Susan Ford is no longer employed by Roottree, and there's like no change in 83 and 84. Ernest Madsen no longer works in the department because I think he slowly got sick or something. Douglas was rehired. Angela, Linda, Catherine no longer employed. From here on out, no secretaries are directly employed by Roottrees. Roottrees instead uses a temp agency called Worktime Temp. Worktime Temp is a company with many offices all over the United States. The Roottrees Candy Company is listed on their site as one of the companies they do business with, though it's far from the only one you recognize. As far as you can tell, there's no connection between Worktime Temp and anyone related to your search. Thank you. Good to know. Victor Logan was hired. Stuart Todd is no longer employed. Amy Sutton was hired. Sam Madsen is no longer employed. Sugar Plum? Wait, what? Wait. Why is Sugar Plum getting 20K when all the other flavors are 10K? But cancelled after 5 months, 100K? And cancelled after 5 months, 50? Zigwa, same. Butterscotch, the same. Caviar, the same. New Year's Ball. Fred Gleason, 50-year work anniversary bonus. Root clothing reimbursement from Carl Rucci. 1 million?! Okay, so Lang Xingyu. So, I guess take a picture of her. And let's see here. So a photo of Lang Xingyu from a recent article about the growth of female entrepreneurs in China. She runs a business with many textile factories. Some manufacture packaging for American products. Okay. But what else can I look for here? I mean, I want to try and get a better photo of Guy rather than just him looking in this direction. I want to make sure I get like a nicer one, but I know this is Guy. So let me just do Guy Hudson, and he was, what president number was he? Where was he? Seriously, where was he? Right here. The 3rd. Okay, he's the 3rd. So let me just put Razadant. Done. I feel like now we should do like the President 6. I feel like, I know it's already locked in as advertising, but now because he's like the 6th president. Anyways. What to do? Oh yeah, we need to know about the name of this other kid. But how? What clues? Okay, so there's like 4 clues here. There's like 1 major clue here. I'm gonna find you. I think this is Guy, but also he's kind of looking frontwards instead of sideways, so maybe I might put this one down. Oh! Well done! What have I locked in? 4, okay. So Miracle, Stewart, Guy, and... Oh, so yeah, she was retail. Oh, and that... Okay, so that was locked. So I locked the picture in, but I still think I still need to find the name. But anyways, 32, so it's a bit less than the first one, than the first Roottrees family tree. So let me just booyah this. Oh, and now I can add more pictures. Yeah, I'll add the side view. So, so apparently she's not locked in yet. So is she not a musician now? Is that what? Hold on. I may need to Google search. I mean, spider search her. Mary Beth Clementine. Can't even spell properly. Oh, here we go. Mary Beth Clementine was the singer most popular in the years between 42 and 59. She traveled around the country performing at churches. Her repertoire was a mix of religious and popular songs, and although she recorded a few records, they seem lost to time. The only one you find mentioned was a cover of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands, released under the label New Edison. One thing Mary Beth was known for was her adoptions. She listed on many sites that mention adoption and the history of adoption. She adopted 2 children in the late 40s, Stuart and Mark. Ooh, Mark. So wait. So even though they had an affair together, none of these are biologically his? Anyways, let me continue reading. So Mark, so that's the other kid's name, but I want to read the rest. She also spoke as an advocate for the benefits of adoption in front of the United States Congress in 49, who were convening to debate and discuss the then recent first adoption of an African-American child to a white family in the United States. She was specifically there to detail her experience going through the system to adopt Stuart. Her other son was adopted later, and according to a single line on one adoption site, under quote-unquote unusual circumstances. In 1959, it surfaced that Mary Beth had been twice divorced, but both times to her manager Sterling. Could this be his name? Sterling Clementine? So basically, it's like she married him, and then divorced, married him again, had an affair with him, divorced, something, I don't know. This ended her career with the religious audience she had been catering to, and while she performed occasionally since then, she mostly faded into obscurity, and then she passed away in 94 at the age of 76 of a stroke. Oh, okay. Let's go for Mark. Crocodile. Clementine is Oh, wait. That's a nickname, not just Crocodile Paws. Crocodile Clementine is listed on a website titled The Infamy List. It's a massive list of criminals who are known for odd crimes. Although Mark's nickname would imply he hails from Florida, a lot of others on the list come from there. Or Australia, Mark is listed as being from Los Angeles. He has a pretty big entry. He seems like a real piece of work. There's a very small note about him being the basket baby of 1950, but most everything else comes from his adulthood. He lost his job in 75 as a pilot. Okay, so he was a pilot. Let me jot this down. So hold on, let me do Mark Clementine, and he was a pilot. Dang it, I thought. Hold on. Pilot. There we go. Got it. I hit enter and I thought it would automatically click it, but no. So he lost his job as a pilot for a regional airline after he tried to board the wrong airline's plane. He was drunk. He was charged with trespassing and assault. In 82, he was arrested for transporting smuggled animals over the Canadian and Mexican borders for an illegal reptile supplier in Los Angeles. He was apparently quite successful for the first 4 years, but was caught when he had to make an emergency landing in Portland after he was bitten on the foot by a crocodile, hence the nickname. Apparently, the Portland Telegraph is credited as having given him his nickname. His mugshots from the incident has been added to my photos. So in 93 he was released on parole, but his freedom didn't last long. He was then arrested in 94, a year later, in San Diego for violating it in an attempt to visit his daughter's graduation. He famously punched the principal, a Billy Sims. This incident received national press. Let me just look this person up. Billy Sims is the principal of Sandstone Canyon High School, who had his 15 minutes of fame in '94 when he was punched by Crocodile Clementine at a graduation ceremony. Pretty much every news organization from Trustworthy to tabloid seemed to have their own take on the altercation. It wasn't the punch that captured the nation's attention, however, instead it was Billy Sims' matter-of-fact response to the threat and his comments afterwards. As heard in now famous audio clip from someone who was recording the ceremony, Billy saw Mark hop onto the graduation set and said, "Sir, you'll want to sit down or we'll have a problem." At that point, Crocodile reportedly sucker punched him in the face. Oh my goodness, why'd you do that? Billy, apparently only slightly dazed, said, "All right, sir, I guess we'll have a problem." Clementine tried to throw another punch, but Sims anticipated it and performed a maneuver that spectators described as a wrestling move mixed with a backward somersault, which immediately brought both men to the floor, with Sims straddling Clementine, keeping him neutralized. As security arrived, the recording captured someone asking, "How did you do that?" And Sims' response was famously, "Trust me, I'm as surprised as anyone." So let me go back. What about the infamy list? Same thing. Or what about Basket Baby of 1950? A few sites about true stories focus on and around religion mention that in 1950, a gospel singer named Mary once found herself dealing with a real-life Baby Moses situation. Apparently, she was a rather prominent supporter of the concept of adoption, and someone decided to test how much. They left a baby on her doorstep in a basket. According to the site, she adopted him without question and raised him as her own son. Although it wasn't national news, in many circles he became known as the Basket Baby, and he even went on tour with her as he grew up. None of the websites state who the woman or baby were, likely to prevent people from looking into either of the people too closely. From context, you'll know that it's Mary Beth Clementine, who would later be shunned due to her personal life, and her son Mark, who would be later known as Crocodile Clementine. Okay, well, there's 4 hints now. So I was about to go check the new evidence that was printed. So Elizabeth had a daughter, who Sam never met, but worked as one of Guy's secretaries. So this had to be... Wait. Is there, when did, like, Sam leave? That's the thing. Yeah, Sam left in '84, 2 years after Guy's passing. So, oh, mugshot. You found this mugshot online. It's Mark Clementine, who was arrested for smuggling reptiles. Better take a picture of that. I don't know. Should I change the photo or just leave it as the kid? I'm gonna try and leave it as the kid, and if that doesn't lock in, then I might as well change the picture. But let's see what else I can do. Oh, I just now realized this says final affair as this says first. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, this is the order. Now this, He's Got a World in His Hands was released under the label New Edison. So should I look up this? So New Edison was a small record label based in Los Angeles that existed for a few years in the 40s. It raced to release cover records of songs that were gaining in popularity. According to a website about the history of record sound, it was named after its founder, Sterling Edison. Its biggest claim to fame is being sued by the estate of Thomas Edison and Edison Records v. Edsel. Oh, so it's Edison, not Clementine. Okay. Where was the family? Yeah, here we go. Let me look it up again. Edison. It was Edison. Sterling Edison. There we go. You also find a few references to New Edison and Mary Beth Clementine on sites about old records. One collector says that the Holy Grail is a re-release of the old Rugged Cross, and says that the first edition was originally published before she legally changed her name. Another site claims that the police had to be called to New Edison Records after its owner Sterling Edison got in a physical altercation in public, leading to a divorce. There are no cited sources or evidence, and the site's content seems user submitted. There's an email address at the bottom, and the phrase, "Send me your stories about old Hollywood and I'll add them to the page." Let me just maybe look up this. Old Rugged Cross is a popular hymn that has been covered by many, many artists. You won't find much relevant. Okay, go back. What about Edison Records versus Edsel? Edison Records was one of the first record labels named after Thomas Edison. The history of the company seems very unimportant, except for potentially a lawsuit they filed in 49, Edison Records vs. Edsel. A website about lawsuits mentioned this as a fun case because the name of the lawsuit was actually the biggest problem for the person being sued. A record producer who called himself Edison was immediately outed as not actually being named Edison. Edsel was a German last name, and at the time of the founding of the company, the US was at war with Germany. The company's founder immediately settled to try to get the case to go away, but the damage was done. What if I was looking at this wrong? What if I needed to look at it through periodicals? And I'm going to do this until something new pops up. Oh, Mary Beth Clementine released the Old Rugged Cross for New Edison, and it was advertised quite a few times. When it was first reviewed by the magazine, however, it listed the artist as Mary Beth Quaker. Okay, it's not Clementine, it's a Quaker. But then, is it? Now I'm so confused. Because now they're Clementines. That's her. What? Okay, I just had to look up the hint to see what I can look for next, and it mentioned a tonalies or something. So, where was it? I think I did try to search it, but I think it led me nowhere. But what if I'm not looking at the right spot? What if it's like in periodicals? Like, could it be could it be somewhere on? So it wasn't on I think I tried Spider Search and just didn't think much about the periodicals. So anyways, Antonelis is an Italian restaurant. And it has been in the Butler County Times twice. The most recent time when it was closed in 1992, the owner Rochelle Simmer sold the land the building was on, and at the time of the article, she was unsure if the restaurant would move to a new location or if she would retire. Many years before that, there's a puff piece from Valentine's Day 78 that asked recently married residents of Butler County how they met. Christine Garland responds she and her husband Steve, who was a chef at Antonelli's, met years ago when she delivered produce from her mother's farms. Produce. Tomato. Steve used to work extra hours just to be there during her deliveries. Although they grew apart when the restaurant switched suppliers, they reconnected by chance and eloped at the end of last year. Now she has a bun in the oven and they're both working as much as they can. She's a secretary but went back to delivering produce on the weekends, trying to save up money to move to Boston and open their new restaurant. Christine Garland. Let's look you up. Maybe go back. Maybe try more here. I need to find Garland in the confidential. So where was she, Garland? Not that one. Christine Ferrer, Joanna Rose. Oh yeah, she was Pharaoh, but right here, 77. So, or maybe Christine Pharaoh. Okay, but where? So wait, hold on. She was 76 to 77, so she had to be. Yeah, she had to be. So she was definitely during Guy's time. So she could be one of the affairs. But I don't have a picture. Or maybe this could be her right here. No. She was marrying someone. So yeah, this could be it. This, she could be the second affair. I'm just going to do... So this had to be Garland. Stephen Garland. So then that would make her Christine Theroux. Faroa. Now, she used to be a secretary, but she could be a chef. Maybe. I don't know. But I need a picture. Now, there was a picture of a random woman when Chris came by with the chocolate in his mouth, but he did not know who that woman was. So let's not jump to conclusions that it could be her just yet. Oh wait, what if I look up this person? I didn't think about her. Or maybe, wait. Maybe I need to look this person up through the periodicals, right? So Rochelle and her husband Mark Zimmer have been a few mentions in the Butler County Times. Both were local business owners. Rochelle owned Antonellis, an Italian restaurant, and Mark owned a local bookstore called Bookmarks. Both closed in 92. Mark was also mentioned once in the Butler County Times when he was sued by Steve Garland. Mark Zimmer. Or maybe Steve Garland? Steve Garland is mentioned in a couple of articles. The first was an article about how he met his wife Christine when he worked at Antonellis. The second is from months later in September 78, a listing for his weekend cooking classes, Gourmet for the Groovy. The blurb mentioned that he's been given lessons from his home kitchen for the last month so that he can keep an eye on his son. The third was from 91 and is titled Local Author Sued by Former Butler County Resident. It seems that a local author by the name of Mark Zimmer was sued by Garland after Garland saw Zimmer promoting his book Kitchen Tales on television. His recipe book was partially plagiarized from the recipes that Steve Garland would give his students during his cooking lessons before he moved. The article mentions that although recipes are hard to copyright, Garland accompanied each recipe with a short fiction about how he learned it. These usually doubled as a way to remember certain ingredients. Garland's bean salad, for example, involved making a trade with a gnome for some magic beans. Apparently, these stories were found word for word in Zimmer's cookbook, in addition to additional stories to following the same format. What should I look up? Kitchen Tales. Gourmet for the Groovy? Or maybe can I try and spider search? Or maybe should I do something? Well, Steve Garland. Maybe Steve Garland, and then Kitchen Tales. Kitchen Tales? Is it like cap sensitive? Steve Garland. Still nothing. Wait a minute. Oh, what if I do Mark Zimmer? Oh, here we go. So it was published in 82, but it's out of print. No copies available, re-released as Garnishing the Truth. The entire description of this book, according to the library system, is a recipe book that contains stories. So, Garnishing the Truth. Okay. Garnishing the Truth. Is it Steve Garland, this one? Here we go. So 94. The introduction of this book is a series of acknowledgements from Steve. The first is, Christine, thank you for everything. Your support means the world to me. You are the apple of my pie. The second is to James and Robert. Oh, so he had two kids. You're becoming an amazing man and incredible chefs. I guess I'm a good teacher. The final is to Mark Zimmer. You proved my storytelling approach to recipes could be popular. Without you, this book couldn't exist. There is also a foreword by Mark Zimmer. I first met Steve in '78 when he taught a cooking class. The next time I saw him was over a decade later when he was suing me for stealing his recipes. Yes, really, so you might wonder what I'm doing in this introduction. Well, it turns out that Steve and I had more in common than we thought. Instead of settling in court, we settled it at McCarran's brew house over a game of darts. They said that they give us the first drink of the night free for an entire year for mentioning them. By the end of the game, he and I agreed we'd both rather make a ton of money but together than spend a ton of money on lawyers. It's pretty rare to meet your best friend so late in life, but when I decided to retire, I moved to Boston just so we could hang out. If you're browsing this book in a bookstore, please buy our book. We need more money for when the free beer runs out, and the bookstore could probably use the sale. So wait, is it Steve Garland that has 2 kids or Mark Zimmer? I am now confused. But is this important? Oh, yes, it is! It's a pub in Boston, and they have a website. Apparently, the bar has been around a long time. On the site, there's a list of famous people who have had a drink there, including former President of the United States, not of the Roottrees Company, Kennedy. There's also a few listings of television shows and books that I mentioned, McCarran's as well as how they came up. One of them is Garnishing the Truth, which the site has this to say about. Local and regular Stevie G wrote a book about food. We prefer cocktails, but he gave us a shout out, and we ain't gonna say no to free press. So grab a bite at his kids joint Fried Eye, and then swing by to meet him for drinks. Fried Eye? A fairly popular restaurant in Boston. They don't have a website, but many locals seem to mention them in various places. One more in-depth review explains that it's not a full restaurant, just a front door and a very small interior with a window. Unusually, the restaurant only serves vegetables, but a lot of reviews say that in spite of that, it's delicious. You also find a short story about it listed on a website called My Boston Homepage. Whoever runs the page seems to just link random sites related to Boston, tell personal anecdotes related to Boston, and give their relatively short opinions on things in Boston. It's very unorganized. It has this to say about Fried Eye. Wicked overrated. I saw it in Chef's Signature, so I went there with a huge line, and they didn't have a single meat dish. What's even the point? So My Boston Homepage. It's run by someone with eclectic tastes. They claim to rate things on a scale from wicked awful to wicked wicked. The most recent thing to receive a wicked offer was an antique store called Things. Apparently, the owner Beatrix is not very friendly. The most recent establishment to receive a wicked is the comic book store in Cambridge called the Million Year Picnic. As far as you can tell, nothing besides Fried Eye seems to be connected in your search anyway. What about Things? It's an antique store located in Boston. The owner's name is Beatrix, and the store's name appears to be somewhat an awkward attempt at a bee-sting pun. This is supported by what can only be described as warmer bee-related imagery and puns on their website. Their logo has a pastel yellow and black striped theme with a clip art insects all over it. It mentions that all of Boston is buzzing for bees. There's even a listing for a vintage armoire that mentions it has plenty of room for all of your yellow jackets in it. At the bottom it states, "Fly on down, honey, and make a deal with Beale." Nothing here appears to be relevant in your search, and you gotta do more of the pun. What about the Million Year Picnic? It's a comic book store in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's one of the oldest comic book stores in the United States, which was founded in '74 and named after a short story by Ray Bradbury. If you decide to visit the Million Year Picnic for the first time after playing this game, please tell the owner, Tony, that you heard about his store from the video game, The Roottrees Are Gone by Jeremy Johnson. Is that like a fourth wall breaking, like a call out to the developer? That's just amazing. Fair warning, he has no idea that I did this and will probably be somewhat confused if you're the first person to tell him. Alright. It's just random stuff, but it's not, but as it says, it's not really important to the search. So maybe I'll cheat by looking at the hint again. Yeah, I did look up that. Oh, Oh, wait, chef's signature. Hold on. There we go. Okay, we got something new. So Friday and chef's signature. Chef's signature covered it Friday less than a year ago, right around the time you were doing your initial investigation. Oh, with the original Roottrees. Each article in Chef's signature tends to focus on a restaurant, and like the magazine name implies, each restaurant lists the one main dish that the head chef is known for. Friday's signature is the samosa cone. The cover and the main article has been added to evidence. Let's take a look-see here. Chef signatures, 1998. Can a vegetarian diet be trendy? Sitting down with the Garlands, the new boys in Boston. Okay, so these are Garland's kids. Wait, can I take a picture? Yes, I can. Okay, so a nationally published magazine targeted towards fans of unusual restaurants featured James and Robert Garland. On the cover of their November 98 issue, according to the article, the two brothers own a small walk-up window in Boston called Friday, a play on the tie-dye shirts that the servers wear, even though they're not wearing it in the picture. That exclusively serves vegetarian dishes. Most of the offerings are heavily inspired by the powerful spices found in Thai and Indian food. Their signature dish is the samosa cone, which from a distance somewhat resembles a traditional ice cream, complete with waffle pattern. Instead, it contains fried potatoes, pureed peas, carrots, and a special ginger-based sauce. Robert, who is 3 years younger than James, so who's who? Like, who's older, who's younger? Jokes that although the age difference has left him delegated to wear the sous chef jacket his whole life, he doesn't mind. As a result, James answers most of the interviewer's questions. Is this Robert? Because like that looks chefy. James answers most of the interviewer's questions. James credits his love for food and his culinary skills to their upbringing. Most kids hate vegetables growing up, but they don't have parents like we did. My father was a chef and my mother grew up on a farm that supplied this restaurant. That's how they met. I don't have any memories from the farm or anything like that since we moved here before I could even talk. But they told me stories. My dad's a great storyteller. He even wrote a book that partially helped fund Friday. When we moved, they were looking to open their own restaurant together. Unfortunately, they never got it off the ground. His line cook gig ended up being less temporary than he hoped, and she had to go back to work as a secretary even after Robert was born. Before we were old enough to go to school, we spent our days with my aunt. In the diner where he worked, my dad had no room for experimenting, so he had to exercise his skills at home on his days off. We'd always go shopping and cooking as a family on those days, and even though we were hyper kids running around and causing a ruckus, those were some of our family's favorite memories since we were all together. Mom had always had the eye for the best vegetables for him to work with, and she did her best to pass that on to us. According to the article, their parents, who are now retired, visit Friday often. They even have a signature dessert, the Sistine apple. Apple pie has always been my mom's favorite, and my dad's always had this stupid line he used to make her laugh involving apple pie. Most people realize it's a Sistine Chapel pun and assume that's all there is to it, but it's actually secretly named after them, sort of. Sistine apple? Wait, wrong thing. What if I need to look at it at the chef's signature? Or do I need to look at this? So I believe this has to be the... yeah, I was right. This is the Garlands. So I think... was this one and then this one, because the younger one was in the sous chef. Wait, what were their names? I should have paid attention. James and Robert. So who? Wait. So that the red's Robert. Robert Red. Robert. So Robert. And then it was Garland. They're Garlands. So Garland. What was the first name? James. Why I should be using the notepad, but okay. And they're both chefs, obviously, right? Because they both own the place together. Yes! How many more have I locked in? Yes. Yes. That. Okay. So maybe it is Sterling Clementine in order for the boys' names to make sense, right? But anyways, booyah. Oh! Hi, Clark!
Sam reached out to me finally. I think I have you to thank for that one. My family's in a bit of a rough patch. Even though the candy is selling better than ever, everyone is fighting over the trust. The majority of us want to dissolve it. On paper, it seems like the right decision. The arguments about what to do next are endless and heated. More than a few Roottrees are worried about losing their wealth. I don't think we deserve it more than anyone else. I love my family, my wife, my daughters, even my son, who I hardly ever get to see. I want to keep them safe and secure, but I didn't do anything to deserve this fortune. Hell, I probably deserve it less than most. It took me way too long to get my life together. Okay, enough about me. Here's the deal. I can't stop the majority from voting one way or another. If you keep passing along potential Roottrees, I'll keep adding them to the list. On the other hand, there's been some leaps forward in genetics. It may sound like science fiction, but we can actually determine who's in the family just by testing their DNA. What you've done so far has been very useful. Just keep filling out the tree and we'll prepare for the tests.
You know what? I'm just going to add this picture now because it's Mark. Now, it's not Edison. It had to be Clementine in order for the boys to be named Clementine. And if she married him like twice. But apparently this... Okay, so it's not Clementine. So it must be a like, was her last name mentioned? Because in the picture here, Regina Clementine came to her that her husband... Should I search up Stuart Clementine? Oh, wait, what about... Is it Clients and Trust? Yeah. I did read the old one, I believe. So the Clancy Trust is a Roottrees company's unusual legal arrangement and the motivation for most of their major financial decisions. As a recap, the entire family earns inheritance directly from the profits of the candy company as well as their sister clothing company, Root. This means that nearly every Roottrees can potentially have a say in the company's high-level operations. Historically, this has caused the family to be slow to approve any major expenditures that could significantly dig into the profits. After the release of 6 Pieces by Sam Madsen, the Clancy Trust came under heavy scrutiny. Sam, her children, and her grandchildren should have all been covered under the trust. According to the wording revealed during an internal family conflict between Ron and Robbie Roottrees, it seemed that those who wrote the trust, Clancy Edward Roottrees at the direction of Elias Roottrees, purposely deceived the rest of the family about the exact details of how it worked in an attempt to keep Sam and her father, Edward Clancy, his own twin brother, in comparative poverty because the rest of the family made money hand over fist. They had very little motivation to question their understanding. Okay, I'm sorry, but the Edward Clancy, or Clancy Edward, protected his twin brother. That's amazing. Sam's book revealed this to the public, and it did not go over well. Clark Rafferty LaRue took over the company, and his most celebrated move was his first official one. He ensured Sam's family would get their share. To help facilitate this, the inheritance aspect of the trust is now under the control of a third party, Ruby Legal Enterprises. Ooh, this might be important. This ensures that the financial motivations of Roottrees family members will not interfere with the investigations into potential new Roottrees. According to Clark's letter, however, some family members are still doing their best to slow the investigation by refusing to answer questions. But let's look at this. Ruby Legal Enterprises is the name of the law firm that has been hired by the Roottrees Candy Company. The company is named after its head lawyer, Ruby Spratt. You can't find much about the company from before this year, though all of the articles tell the same tale. After the fiasco of Six Pieces and the revelation that the Roottrees internal law group was complicit in such a cover-up, they hired outside counsel. The Ruby Legal Enterprise Group now seems to have ties to multiple aspects of the Roottrees Corporation, including the Candy Company and Root. They were recently in the news due to a high-profile lawsuit they raised against Cicely Sanchez. Is an author best known for Portrait of a Changed Man, released in 1979. Wait, could I actually look this up? You know what? I'm just going to do highlight Portrait of a Changed Man, and then something about maybe foreign gospel. That I'll look they gotta be in this book. So Cicely Sanchez, Portrait of a Changed Man. Or like foreign gospel. Her follow-up Foreign Gospel 84 did not perform as well critically, but still sold quite respectfully. She has written a few more books since then, including a biography of Van Gogh, but her first two are her claim to fame. According to a site about authors, Cicely is known for her non-fiction with a focus of exploring darkness in the human psyche. Recently, Cicely appeared in a magazine called Piketty. This might be important. With an article about a book she had been commissioned to write for Guy Hudson, the magazine and Cicely herself were immediately issued a cease and desist due to its inclusion of pictures that she never had the rights to publish. The issue was pulled from the store shelves, making it an instant collector's item. Search this. Or maybe... Hold on. Where was it? I think I need to look this up in this one. I will click everywhere. So Newstime briefly covered a lawsuit between Ruby Spratt and Piketty magazine surrounding Cicely Sanchez. They said that Cicely didn't have the rights to redistribute the photos in the magazine of Guy Hudson. Piketty apparently announced that they would be pulling their issue the following day, the moment that Ruby Legal Enterprises threatened them. So this caused the issue to sell faster than any other in the magazine's history, though only for a day. Even more people that would never have normally purchased it went out of their way to buy one, just in case it would be worth something someday. It especially caught the eye of conspiracy theorists who assumed that anything worth suing over would have been hiding something. An expert legal analyst from Newstime states that it was unlikely that Ruby could have had the story pulled if it had gone to court, and Piketty likely got more eyes on it than it would have if the Roottrees just ignored the story. Let me maybe look up Ruby Spratt. So, like her legal company is relatively elusive, the most complete source of information you can find from before her time with the Roottrees is from the website for a magazine owned by a major airline. She was the subject of one of the article from recurring She was the subject of one article, Success Stories. Ruby grew up in foster care but excelled at school and earned a scholarship to study at Mid-Eastern University. There she graduated at the top of her legal class and was quickly hired as a lawyer for a prominent firm. There are a few high-profile corporate-involved cases she was a part of. One was a legal consultant for a class-action lawsuit against a manufacturer of steering wheel covers. Another was to help a local gas station chain in her hometown of Portland, with the rollout of a promotion that allowed gas station customers the ability to bet on the price of gas. The blurb ends by calling her new firm a double threat. Her company's services are a cross between a traditional lawyer and a PR manager. Ooh. What if I can swap, like, Piketty and then maybe Cicely Sanchez. Can I do it like this? Or could I do it like, Cicely Sanchez Hicoti? Or like Piketty Magazine? Oh, I had to add magazine in order. Now I can look up. Wait, hold on. Now, wait. Now that Piketty's actually here, maybe I can. Why did I get rid of the name? Cicely Sanchez. Still nothing here. Worth a shot. Anyways, I'm going to read this. Piketty Magazine is a publication that, as far as you can tell, has no consistent theme. It tends to contain a tabloid-esque articles that appeal to a wider variety of audiences and appears in many grocery stores near the checkout line. Unlike traditional tabloids, it doesn't typically feature celebrities on the cover. Instead, it tends to latch onto and create sensationalist headlines about whatever subject appears to be popular at any given time. In recent years, this has been included Beanie Babies, Magic Eye images, and even Red Bull. It has often come under fire for printing fiction along with facts. Piketty gets around this by stating in every issue that all its articles are all the hearsay that's fit to print. At one point, Piketty ran an article about Cicely Sanchez, an author she claims to have written an unread book about Guy Hudson. The article was not even the main focus of the issue, yet the magazine was threatened legally by the Roottrees Corporation. The particular issue, the Big Sass Sea Bass issue, was pulled from the shelves. It has now become a collector's item, especially amongst conspiracy theorists attempting to figure out what the Roottrees company was hiding. You find a recently finished online auction that listed a copy over $1,000. Wait, can I look this up? Yes! In an issue that focused on a talking toy fish and the demonic messages it supposedly said as the batteries ran low, Piketty had an article about a cancelled book by Cicely Sanchez. The book's subject was Guy Hudson, and the issue was said to contain pictures that Cicely did not have the rights to publish. Because of the pictures, this issue was pulled from the store shelves. Making this the subject of some conspiracies and an instant collector's item. Due to this recall, the version found this archives incomplete. Wait. Can I look up these highlighted stuff? Portrait of a changed man? Or can I do foreign gospel? Okay, nothing. Anyways, I got some new evidence, so let's go ahead and look at this. So there's like 8 clues in this. This was the issue of Piketty magazine that contained an article about Cicely Sanchez. The story concerned an unreleased book she had written about Guy Hudson. It seems that it used photos of Guy that Cicely did not own the rights to publish. Unfortunately, the magazine was issued and cease and desist by Roottrees lawyers. The magazine was pulled from the shelves, and version you found in your periodical search had the relevant pages removed, rendering this magazine useless unless you want to read about a potentially demonic fish toy. Then why do we have this then? What's the 8 clues? Oh wait, could I do Guy Hudson? In an issue that focused on a talking toy fish... No. Well, since this is all done, I don't think I'll need that. Or that. And I know it's man of positions of power, and I believe I covered all of them. Like, all of the greens are done. And still I haven't made a dent in this scandalous affair. I think I already read this. Oh, what about, like, can I look up the Roottrees curse or something? If I can type. Because I remember from the previous family... Oh, that's updated! Because, yeah, I did read this. So during your initial search, you came across Thomas Overwood's conspiracy page about the Roottrees. 8 months later, the page still exists and is thriving. The visitor counter has reached 7 digits. Many older articles have been replaced. It seems that recent uprising in Roottrie news has left Thomas Overwood with a constant stream of events that base new theories on. More than one of his theories involve Roottrie deaths being faked. According to Overwood, statistically, when you have this many high-profile people who have passed in a family, the odds are that one of them faked it. It's just math. This newfound focus on death faking seems to coincide with a post mentioning that he's begun believing that Guy's not dead theory. In his own words, my eyes have been opened. All of this is beginning to make too much sense. One of his posts details the belief that Ron Roottrie is still in charge of What? Gwyn's Roottrie? Was faked? Wait. Are you saying Gwyn Roottrie, the actress, passed away? But he's theorizing that it's fake? Clark is there only to throw people off, apparently allowed Ron to travel to France to develop the new candy recipe in secret. Another about the rap of 5Ps can't possibly be a Roottrie. One of his first album songs, when he was performing under the devil name, actually mentioned that he wanted to... Okay. Not even Sam Madsen is spared. According to Overwood, the author, 6 Pieces isn't real. Sam Madsen is an anagram for "and madness." They're purposely leaving hints for us. He claims that by using 6 Pieces with Lauren Ritchie's book as one of the time pad, he has begun to decrypt a cipher. Most of the cipher has been seem meaningless, but he managed to pick out the words. People and Vastness is working on figuring on what it means. There is also a request at the bottom. Next year, 2000, is a leap year, and Overwood is looking for funds and volunteers to catch Roottree's red-handed in Operation R229. He specifically mentions not to volunteer if you ever drunk spirit cola, but that doesn't go into why. I'm now... Now, hold on. I want to look up Gwyn Roottrie. Gwyn Roottrie death. Gwyn Roottrie was somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 50s. Her biggest role was in the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. She passed in Paris about 3 weeks ago, so she actually did pass away. After leaving Hollywood, she made no effort to stay in the limelight, and most obituaries tend to focus on her largest role, Guys Like Us. Not much is known about her passing, except that it was announced that she had passed peacefully in her sleep while being treated for a sudden severe case of pneumonia. Pneumonia or something. I can't. Sorry for mispronouncing, but I think it's pneumonia. Before that, she had apparently been in relatively good health. According to her friends and family in Paris, she was 67. Well, that sounds... kind of still sounds young to me. I think anything under 70 is just young. So wait, can I look her up on periodicals now? I mean, yeah, hold on, like, Starlet. I want to see if something updated. Gwyn Roottrie. Nah, it's not, it's the old one. But now I'm curious about Ron Roottrie. So Ron was announced as president of Roottrie during the Roottrie Rift, but the next press release immediately reversed that announcement and instead stated that Ron and Clark would take over. A few weeks later, Ron was dropped from the title entirely. There are hundreds of results about this development, but most articles are retelling of basic details. Some veer into heavy speculation based on an article about Ron in Business Watch. Ooh, I gotta search that up. So Ron has also done some interviews saying that the truth of what went on behind the scenes is not something he wishes to discuss. Instead, he hopes to release a movie about it someday, because 3 weeks ago, Ron's mother Gwyn passed in Paris, and he and his brother Robbie had seemingly made amends. Why do you mean amends? Oh yeah, because Ron tried to remove Robbie from the Clanted Trust. But now, that's... okay, so Ron Roottrie in Business Watch. That's good to know. So Business Watch... Ron Roottrie. Business Watch ran an article about 2 months after the Roottrie Rift about what really happened with Roottrie. The article mentions that nobody from Roottrie that they reached out to was willing to go on record. Instead, the timeline of events has been constructed from public record, accidental leaks, and a source on the inside. The only parts that are new to you are also the most vague parts, the ones supposedly confirmed by their anonymous source. The timeline says that the family actually held a preliminary vote after Carl Roottrees passed, but before the release of 6 pieces, and decided they wanted Ron Roottrees to take over because of his experience running RR Productions, and because he was well known and well respected Roottrees. But Ron seemed way too eager and personally motivated. They were worried he would gut the Clancy Trust to remove Robbie Roottrees. The family was notoriously unwilling to do anything that could risk their wealth. They stalled, and Ron became frustrated with the delay. When 6 pieces came out, he saw his chance to force action while the family was in the limelight and release himself in an attempt to get the ball rolling faster. This caused chaos within the family. They tried to save face by allowing Ron to take over as co-president with Clark, but according to Business Watch source, Ron was impossible to deal with. He seemed like he was unwilling to protect the clan's trust, and they eventually let him go. After that, the role passed solely to Clark, who nobody was excited about, but seemed like the safest choice. And that's it. Ron's just lashed out. I want to see what else he's mentioned. So, this was not faked. Oh, wait, maybe this. The Guy's Not Dead conspiracy stems from a website that focuses on the clues that the Roottrees have supposedly hid all over the place. This includes uncanny wrappers in print advertisements, in television commercials, in their jingles, etc., etc. The story, according to the website, is that Guy Hudson was a terrible president of the Roottrees Company and introduced multiple failed products. Something needed to be done that would put the company immediately and instantly back in the favor of consumers. So they wrote off, yeah, that sounds better, wrote off Guy Hudson and replaced him with a new president. This move immediately garnered sympathy, and the company recovered the next year, more popular than ever. The next president stayed much further out of the limelight, and some people even theorized that he was simply Guy Hudson in an elaborate disguise, which is why he stopped appearing in public. The people who run the site are asking for help. They're certain that there's a clue to all of this that accidentally leaks in a banned article from the magazine Piketty. On their page is a scan of the magazine's cover, the interview with Cicely Sanchez about Guy Hudson, and some photos I've added to evidence. Let's see. Oh, so this is updated now. So this is an interview with Cicely Sanchez, an author. She was hired to write a book about Guy Hudson. You claim to have been paid a significant amount to write a book about one of the Roottrees, Guy Hudson. He was the president for a short period at the end of the 1970s, right? Yeah, I met him on New Year's Eve, actually. The last night of 78. Guy liked to throw big parties. I was just coming off of Changed Man and looking for my next project. When his wife learned who I was, she invited me to the party, and they wanted me to talk about a book. That was the first time anyone recognized me from my work. I had finally made it. The book they asked me to write sounded great, but then none of the stuff that made him interesting was allowed to stay. Chop, chop, snip, snip, anything with even the slightest threat to Guy's image ended up gonzo. What was the stuff that made him interesting? At his core, Guy was not complicated. In fact, I think I could boil him down to 2 traits. First, he wanted to be seen as the second coming of the great Elias Roottrees, and second, he'd never be satisfied living the life needed to be seen that way. He had his fortune and good looks, but he really liked to exploit that to pick up women. Yeah, it's obvious Guy's a womanizer. But he couldn't let anyone else know, so it cost him a lot to cover it up. That was the only interesting aspect of Guy. He was James Bond trying to convince people he was Mr. Rogers, I guess? Mr. Rogers, really? Maybe that's not the best metaphor, but Elias Roottrees was boring as all heck and all about family. Guy did everything he could to be seen that way. After I submitted my first draft, he sent me this garbage book. The Roottrees Legacy, with Elias on the cover. The last time he and I met, he had even switched out his orange suits for the same green ones Elias wore, And remember Fancy Flavors? Guy knew so that part of Elias' legacy was the five-piece flavors. So that's what Guy tried to do, too. Caviar was a disaster here, but it was actually somewhat popular in Brazil for whatever reason. In Christmas 79, he went to Brazil to open the Roottrees Brazil factory. Guy was always hopping around the world trying to recreate that success. So how come the book never came out? Well, it's complicated. I had an out in my contract. Surprisingly, Guy signed the contracts my lawyers wrote without running it by anybody in his legal department. I could pull my name off the book at any time, but Guy still got the content. After I left, it probably got a lot harder to convince any real publisher to give it their time. And let's see, page 2. So he was the president, right? Do you know why he never released it himself? If I had to guess, his family would wisely put a stop to it mid 1981, months after I had already moved on. He called me back and showed me a quote unquote final draft. Do you know how expensive it is to publish one copy of a book? It had my name on it in big, shiny, embossed letters. I almost said embroidered. Like all problems in his life, throwing money at me was his attempt to win me back, but it had half the page count and the narrative was torn to bits. No thanks. The dinner was good, imported steak that likely cost as much as the month of my mortgage, and we all got pretty drunk. He sent his mistress Susie something into the bathroom to proposition me. Poor girl, I remembered her from our trip overseas. She was too good for him. Anyways, he passed soon after, and that was the last it ever came up. Oh, so he had a mistress named Susie. But Susie something, so even she doesn't, so Susie might be like a nickname or something. But anyways, let's continue. So what can you tell us about the family? Any insight into the scandals from the recent book by Sam Madsen? I actually haven't read it. I just skimmed the sections on Guy to see why people were suddenly calling me up to ask about the man. I'd say she did well for what she had to work with. She only had rumors, whereas I spent time tailing him. Sometimes he knew, sometimes he didn't. He invited me to join them when dealing with Roottrees Brazil, but I actually had people on him when he went to Australia, France, and China too. When he met with someone, I figured out who they were and how they were involved. Doubly so if the meeting happened when he didn't want me to be around. Despite his best efforts, I got the whole truth, including things even his family never knew. For example, the daughter of his business partner in Australia, I think her name was Robin. He and she definitely spent a few nights together that he didn't want his family to know about, but I did. Madsen got things wrong. Sam mentions Guy's affairs and treats them like most people would logically think to treat them, like the infidelity was a problem for Patricia. When his wife first approached me, though, it wasn't to talk, if you get my meaning. On paper and in public, it was a marriage like any other, but in reality, it was more of a mutually beneficial arrangement. They both got what they wanted out of it, the same thing. What was that? I'm assuming that I only have to spell it out so you can get it in writing for your readers. Women. Patricia enjoyed the company of women, and the swinger scene made that more accessible. I told her I wasn't interested in her and got. Oh! Wait! Wait! So Patricia doesn't love Guy, but it was like a business arrangement. So basically, on paper and public, they're like a couple, but behind closed doors, they can do whatever the heck they want. So basically, the wife. Oh, the wife. Are you saying like the wife is a lesbian? Guy's wife's a lesbian? Sorry, I'm probably getting it wrong with making these accusations without reading the full thing, but that would be actually like, I mean, it suddenly hints that Patricia enjoyed the company of women, so it was a bold assumption. Anyways, I found out later that if I had said yes, her next question would have been whether or not her husband actually had to be there too. Oh my goodness. Guy, on the other hand, was seen in a traditional marriage and at the same time could bed anything that found him charming. I can assure you that was exactly the type of marriage he was interested in. Like, so, I don't know. Is it like polyamorous? No, it can't be because he was seen as traditional, quote traditional. Okay, that's all it on the Pikachu. Ooh, photos, photos, photos. Okay, so this photo is the first from a magazine interview with Cicely Sanchez and Piketty. The issue of Piketty magazine that it came from was pulled from the shelves, but you managed to find it online. Oh, so is this like Cicely Sanchez or something? Because this is the second president. Piketty does not label it as individual photos. Both photos were instead under the shared label. Cicely was provided these photos by the Roottrees company for the use in her books. Okay, what's the S one? So, ooh. Picture, 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 everything, picture, everything. So this photo is the first from a magazine interview. So Piketty does not label it. In the background of the photo, there is a Christmas tree. So yeah, this is a Christmas photo. Wait, now, let me just do that and do that. Oh, that would have been that would have been a good one for this, but that's already locked in. So you know what? I'll make do. And I think there had to be a yeah. There it is. Why am I getting so stupidly excited? Could this be her or this be her? Or that could be Cicely. Or maybe this could be her? So she had to be not a chef, maybe because she went back to being a secretary, right? If this doesn't lock in with this picture, then I know for sure. So, who is next? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it could be this one. Because if I look here, yeah, when President was Zach Morton, what were the secretaries? Yeah, Christine was hired, so maybe. And she became a chef. Maybe this might be the picture. I'm not sure. All right, just gonna look up, see if there's anything. Wait, I did look. Did I look through this? Yeah, like Brazil. I did look this up. Yeah, I did read this. I just like because I read something about like the caviar in Brazil. I'm just kind of skimming through this. Oh, Sonia. Wait, can I look up Sonia, his wife? This does not seem to be anyone related by the name of Sonia Soares listed anywhere online you can find. However, Spider Search does return a page that lists a news anchor in Brazil named Flavio Soares, who has a mother. Oh, can I do this? So Flavio Soares is a young Brazilian newscaster with a bit of a cult following. This discourse surrounding him is, to put in polite terms, lewd. There's a website about something called fanfiction that has a small section dedicated to him. It seems that women and some men Sorry, why am I getting excited when there's all like pride content buzzing around? Of a wide variety of ages and writing skill tend to find him worthy of inclusion in their stories. You skim some of the tales there and learn that a common thread is that he is currently dating a supermodel named Ashley York. Many stories either seem to ignore her existence or get her out of the picture rather quickly. There are also other traditional fan sites that list some things about him, including his age, which is 18, his zodiac sign Libra, his favorite food is grilled steak, his mother's name is Sonia. Also, it seems that Flavio translates to golden-haired. One of the website with a signed publicity photo of Flavio seems to confirm this. The photo has been added. I want to know about Ashley York. is a British supermodel who does ads for perfume, clothing, and jewelry. She has been the subject of some controversy in the past few months, had been protested by PETA for wearing fur on the cover of some magazines. She's dating a young Brazilian news anchor named Flavio, which has brought them both somewhat into the limelight. Let's go over here and... Okay, yeah, he's hot. Picture. But where do I put him on the wait. Was it dated? Natasha? Shka? Something? Or what if I can try and wait, what if I try and look her through periodicals and see if something comes up? You know, I'm just going to do this method where I'll just pick every periodical until something pops up. Like, even if it's not even, like, ties into her, I will find something. Oh, she's on Team Blast. Okay. A cover of Team Blast wearing a first shawl 3 months ago. This appearance doesn't lead to any useful information. Oh, wait, I forgot. Flavio's 18, so he's still technically a teenager. What? Duh! I thought, like, I don't know why, I thought the model would have been older. But no, she's roughly around his age. Probably younger, probably exact same age. Recent appearance only mentions she's staying in Flavio Soares. In it, a Team Blast reporter asked how they met. I was in Rio for Carnival, or Carnival, and he was on one of the parade floats. I had no idea who he was, but I liked what I saw and told my parents to invite him to the party I was going to. I felt pretty stupid once I realized that we were going to his party. Well, his mother's party. She runs a meteor empire down called the Transmisapalo. This might be important for something, I don't know, but we'll just look this up. I will. Due to the status as one of the wealthiest media companies in South America, there's too many results based off one of the mentions. Name drops could be anything useful. Sonia? So, what was the name? What was the name? Where was the name again? Soares. Yeah. Soares. Soares. If I could oh, there was an A in there. There was an O. It was OA. Okay. Wah! Wait, what if I try and spider search this? Oh, here we go. Massive media group owned and run by the mysterious woman named Sonia Alves. Okay, let me highlight this. It seems Sonia Alves is a common name in Brazil, so she has shortened her name to Nia to stand out in the public's eye. According to a history page that's focused on her company and vague unsearchable details, Nia received a significant inheritance in '80 and invested it in many different manufacturing businesses in her hometown in Brazil. At the same time, she had just begun to learn her ins and outs of running a television network. She continued to work in television until in '88 when Brazil began its period of reform. She felt this was the perfect opportunity to launch her own media company using her investment and connections. Now her company owns television networks, magazines, now newspapers, and advertising firms. After doing some translating, the page about Nia lists her as unmarried. It does not go into any other relationship history. Searching for Nia online, you learn that she stays out of the spotlight. She doesn't even appear at the shareholder meetings. She sends a proxy. So she has to be in an affair, but unmarried. Maybe this could be her? But what's her picture? You know what? In the meantime, I'm just going to do Sonia Alves, and I think she had to be... What could she be? She does not a travel agent. Screen... not sure about public speaker. I'm trying to find something about media. In Media Mogul? Because she does work with television? I'm just kind of looking at this photo, and they, like, maybe I'm thinking. So, okay, so this is the fifth and final. So four. So maybe this one here, because married, split, and of course there's a photo here, and the unknown spouse has no photo here. So I'm assuming that this could be her here, and then him here, and wait, what if I need to move this over to here? What if this is her? I mean, I'll make a guess. Sonia Alves. So let's just go ahead and make this an unknown for now, and then this unknown for now. So then, what? Wait. Sor. What if this is her husband, Soros? Wait, what was it? What was it? Well, I really need to jot down. I'm just gonna skim back a bit. Edson. It's Edson. I believe that's Edson. And then. Oh, wait. Then him. And then Flavio Soares. And probably also media. Because he's on TV. Dating model. Is this alright? I'm just kind of guessing at this point. Oh, wait, he's newscaster, not media mogul. Whoops. Okay, hold on. News anchor. There we go. All fixed. Now, something about the third affair and the final affair. So, obviously, we have someone single that had a child, and then someone who was married but divorced and has 2 kids. I wonder... Should I look for Brazil again? Wait, could I look up this? Because literally the company is everywhere. Ooh, Roottrees Everywhere was an expansion in the late 1970s. It coincided with some other large changes at the company and had mixed success. As far as you can tell, the different companies related to it were all formed in very different and sometimes haphazard ways. There's minimal organized information about the history of expansion itself online, but you can also glean the following. Roottrees candy has been distributed globally to certain markets approved by licenses as early 1940s. This included places like Canada, Mexico, and select countries in Europe, mostly the UK. Roottrees Everywhere involved Roottrees expansion to other major markets that were assessed to be ready for Roottrees. This started with 4 no share in Australia, Brazil, China, and France. Each of the countries has entirely new company form, mostly by making deals with local distributors. Oh, and I could actually also just look it up here. But wait, can I do like Roottrees Canada and see if anything comes up? Okay, nothing. Oh wait, did I look this up? I don't think I did. I mean, I am jumping everywhere at this point, trying to, find things to make progress. But I come across a website, which is a company that helped expand Roottrees products in the late 1970s. The company seems very accomplished. Their site has quotes from many different reporters and news articles listed on it in nearly every language. It also mentioned quite often on websites about Chinese businesses, but always mentions a company focus and not people focus, and don't offer any information useful to your investigation. Their page contains a very rudimentary leadership timeline with a name to prove that the company had been in the Lang family for a long time. Kind of looks like a family tree. It goes back to at least 250 years in some form or another. During the period where they began the Roottrees deal, Lang Hongbo in China, the family name comes first. Also, Lang is his last name. Thank you for clarifying that again. Was not the CEO. He passed before the internet was widespread, so there's not much out there other than his name on the website. His younger brother, Hong Yu, is featured on the history section directly following him. This also seems to be the only mention of the man. The current CEO is a woman listed simply as Xin Yu. The site doesn't list her last name, though she does appear in the family tree below Hongbo. Lang Tai has a few American logos on his page. One is the Roottrees logo, another is Tranquils, and the third is Piece of Asia. Can I look these up? Piece of Asia is the American arm of Lang Thai located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. According to their site, the Thai and Lang Thai translate to peaceful, so they chose their name in America to match. There are a lot of other companies listed here, too many to investigate, as very few of them seem to have any relevance. It seems Piece of Asia is nearly as accomplished as Lang Thai. They offer fabrics and cloths at wholesale prices. You don't spot anything out of the ordinary. The business is said to be owned by husband and wife Jerry and Linda Han. That their Chinese names are listed too, and from using an online translator, it seems that Jerry is Han. Okay, wait, let me write this. So, Jerry is Han Jun Wei, or Jun Wei Han, and then Linda is Lang Xin Yao. Well, Xin Yao Lang. Let's go back. And let's see, Tranquilts. Play on Tranquil and Quilts. The name is ironic considering that the loudest quilts you've ever seen. The main quilt featured on a website is a flaming unicorn soaring through space with peace symbols all around it. Although they were listed on a website for the textile company, they don't seem to have much of a connection. It appears that they import cloth. Okay. What? I gotta stop closing that. Wait, what if I do Jerry and Linda Han? Jerry Han. Jerry, Linda, and Mark Han appeared recently on a website called Focus on Philanthropy. Hanging with the Hans. I'm just gonna highlight those. Hanging with the Hans. The Hans were chosen because they donate significantly to causes that further Chinese American culture. Jerry and Linda were both born in China and fell in love during university. Linda's father led a large company. This article never names it. After it expanded to the US, Linda's father approved their marriage so long as Jerry took over the US portion of the business. Linda jokes that the entire situation is something out of an Alanis Morissette song, with how ironic it all ended up. I was absolutely terrified to move to the United States, but my big sister was desperately in love with the idea. She used to have this Butch Cassidy poster on her wall and was obsessed with Robert Redford. But somehow Jerry and I were the ones sent here, and now we couldn't possibly imagine going back. When we had Mark, we never even considered giving him a traditional name. Meanwhile, my sister stayed in China and has thrived there. She doesn't even like visiting the US anymore. Our kids are complete opposite though. Mark couldn't wait to travel abroad as soon as he was old enough. He's actually in business school in China now, working with my sister. Our niece who grew up there was the opposite. She couldn't wait to get here. She started calling herself Lucy Lang in high school and flew out here as soon as she graduated. The name change apparently drove my sister absolutely loco. Lucy Lang. Not a very common name, but it's not the most uncommon you've come across either. There are a few that come up with searchable details, so it might be possible to narrow down your possibilities. Mentioned on a robotics website as part of Team Talonclaw, one of the only two teams in the US participating on a new robot-based show in the UK. Part of a small women's a cappella group in Los Angeles called Gin and Tonics. Lucy Lang works in New York for a business called Corporate Synergic Solutions Unlimited. Let me try this one. Okay, so none is related to my current investigation. That's a no-go. What about this? I'm kind of now just skimming at this point. Doesn't seem relevant. Okay, then the only thing is Team Talonclaw? Team Talonclaw is the robotics club of Mid-Eastern University. Their robot, also named Talonclaw, has been selected for appearance on the second season of a British television show focused on robot fighting. A small blurb mentions that robot fighting leagues have existed for a few years, but there have been recent moves to televise it. Talonclaw was one of the two teams selected from the US. The Robotics Club has a text-only site you can find linked from the university students section. The site seems like it's used mostly to announce the schedule to its members. The club is supposed to meet every Tuesday and Thursday, but the last 8 dates have all been cancelled because a few members of the team are currently in the UK filming. Another date from a few weeks back was cancelled for an interview with the school's newspaper. At the bottom of the travelling members of Talonclaw are listed as team captain Jaya Patel and supporting members Lucy Lang and Kurt Hauser. Can I, spider search this? Ooh, private university that advertises itself as midway between Maine and Miami. Their mascot is the Spectres. Though they are not known for their sports program as much as their education, their legal and language departments are their pride and joy. Though they also have fairly extensive computer science and robotics programs, along with other prestigious schools that haven't quite reached the notoriety of Ivy League schools. Some refer to it as Little Ivy. The university has embraced this, calling their newspaper the Herald, which is a combination of Hedera, the scientific name for ivy, and Herald. Their website boasts that they have historical technology museum on campus, including a still functioning computer from the 1960s that takes up a full room. They also have a printing press they use to print one special and year-end issue on the Herald each year. Can I spider search this? Woo! Why am I excited? So let's do the Herald and maybe Lucy Lang. Yes! The Herald has a story about their school's robotics team, Team Talonclaw. It lists 3 students members and talks a bit about each of their history, including their interest in robotics. The only one that catches your attention is Lucy Lang. She grew up in China as Ming Lang, but came to the US specifically to attend university. She says she grew up around factory-scale machines and assembled products that would be shipped all over the world, and the moving parts of an automation fascinated her. However, as she has smaller, more powerful hydraulics, such as the mechanism that closes Talonclaw's weapon. In addition to robotics, she loves linguistics. One of her hobbies since coming to the States has been collecting accents. In her spare time, she practices not only removing any trace of her native inflection, but she also quickly switching between multiple different regional accents. She feels her personal best is the Southern Belle, but her favorite is the Valley Girl due to its use in popular culture. The article has a picture now in your evidence. Let's looky here. Oh, so this is the Talonclaw. So I guess take a picture of that. So Lucy Langming with Talonclaw, the robot she worked. So does that make her like some sort of mechanic? Oh no, I would say university student. But where would I put her? But she could be an only child or somebody. Maybe here? Maybe I could put her here as, Lucy Lang? And then university students? And then that... But I don't know the mother. What if this is the mother? Lang Xinyu. I could give her... I could try. So... Oh wait, no. Lang. I gotta remember it. And Xinyu? Or was it Xin Yao? Because she's Ming. So... No, she's Xinyu. Then who is Xin Yao? But I believe she owns a company, so maybe CEO. Okay, what have I locked in? What have I got correct? Show me. Okay, so I got those right. Yes. 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 Okay, so... I guess Lucy Lang... I should have put her down as me, right? But booyah! So Min. That would have worked better. But anyways... I am almost complete with Guy's shenanigans. And still haven't made a dent on this one. What the heck? And also this isn't locked in, so this isn't right still. Come on! Is it really Edson? Or Edison.